cucking with the pool boy all night. If you up, smash that like button. Welcome to Black and Black Times Infinity. I'm your host, Cthulhu's Project, coming to you live and direct from the stack. Smoke me out, fam, with that dang shit on my left. Blue.
Damn it. She asked me for a pic, so I gave her a dad pic, a dry ass dick pic.
Oh, on my far right, engineer, and on the ones and twos, choking people out on the threes and fours, Chronos.
How come when somebody says blue lives matter, nobody says all lives matter?
Mm.
Weird.
These are these important points. We know we're getting into it. In the middle, we got Stitch.
Black people are becoming an endangered species.
Last but not least, we got the oldest ninja in the world, Old Ninja.
High key F2020.
We got 4 more months, y'all. 4 more goddamn months. Kronos, you usually got some statistics for us.
I do. Listener of the week would be P. Berto Muf. I don't know how to say that, but thank you for listening. We appreciate it. First in the chat, I don't think anybody's chatted yet that I can see. Let me just refresh real quick. Usually takes a second. And nope, nobody in chat yet.
All right. It literally just went when we were doing intros, so.
Yeah, people are watching. Just
Good simple. Say something if you're watching. Old Ninja. You usually are pouring out some type of malt beverage. There's a whole lot going on, so I don't even know where you're going to take it on this first one. Where you want to
go? We're just going to start small, and then we're going to go deep diving into a bunch of stuff. So we're going to, somebody's got a train going.
Sorry
about that. You know, I was running the trains on these hoes, you know.
This dude.
Yeah, really?
We're going to pour out some St. Ides for Riley Gale, lead singer of the metal band Power Trip. He's passed away. The band has been known for, I guess, ushering in thrash metal or hardcore punk, or more commonly known as crossover thrash. The band has released 2 well-received albums in like 2013's Manifest Decimation and 2017's Nightmare Logic, and they released a compilation album. Gail does guest vocals on Body Count's Point the Finger, which is Body Count is Ice-T's band, and his cause of death has not yet been determined. He was 34.
That's fucking young. God damn.
Exactly. So I hope nothing nefarious happened to the dude. I mean, he did pass away, but I hope it wasn't like Rona related or he was shot or some shit. Actually, no. If he was shot, they'd have reported, but still.
Okay.
R.I.P.
Who else? There's a few.
I didn't have notes on the other ones.
Okay.
Prodigy.
I want to say this really quickly before I know we were going to go deep on a whole lot of fucking shit, but heart goes out to a couple things. Number one, it looks like Louisiana and Texas are right now under Category 4 huge hurricane. I think it's Hurricane Laura, and there might be another one right afterwards. That's one thing. Secondly, the big giant pink elephant in the room masturbating is there was another unarmed black man in Wisconsin that was not killed, but is in intensive care, I believe, or possibly paralyzed. And I know we're going to go deep into it. The entire sports world has stopped as a direct result. And there's a whole lot else going on with this. It was not a killing, but there certainly have been people killed in the aftermath and the protests. And I know we're going to go
deep.
I know we're going to discuss it. So who wants to start us off?
What was this? What's the city's name again? Is it? I've got my X-Men stuff. So I'm thinking Genosha or whatever. But,
is it pronounced Kenosha?
This ain't the X-Men.
It is Kenosha.
Kenosha. Okay.
Yeah. So the K is not silent. So it is Kenosha.
Kenosha. So Kenosha, Wisconsin,
Mhm.
and this is all. Some of the information is kind of blurry, and I'll get into that based on on the research I've done in a minute. But there was
Can we
an
pause? Hold on. I'm sorry, just pausing real quick. It's the one thing that nobody said. We didn't actually say the guy's name, so I just realized that.
Oh, yeah.
Jacob Blake is the guy who got shot.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
That's good.
there we go.
Good
Just
clarification.
to clarify, that's the guy who. I mean, he's not dead, but he's probably paralyzed from getting shot in the back 7 fucking times. Anyway,
Yep.
Steve, sorry to.
no,
steal your
yeah,
time.
yeah. No, I was gonna reclaiming my time. Just messing with you. Apparently there was some sort of dispute that took place at this address in Wisconsin, in Kenosha. It's a city that I've never even heard of. I could probably name maybe 3-4 cities in the entire state of Wisconsin just because I don't know shit or whatever outside of Milwaukee and Green Bay and Madison. But somewhere in Wisconsin, there was this incident that happened, and this video leaked from I guess a witness took a camera video of the incident. It's showing some sort of dispute going on between police, a couple other black people. Looked like there was some females involved, and there was a male individual, Jacob Blake, that was there. And in the video, you see what looks like Jacob walking from the passenger side of the vehicle around the front of the vehicle. There was an officer behind him. You can't really tell what the officer is saying, but he has his gun drawn. And Jacob then walks around the front of the car, proceeds to attempt to get in the front seat of his car, and the officer decides to shoot his firearm 7-8 times into Jacob Blake. The witness on there is screaming. There's a female that's just hysterical, screaming, rightfully so, because watching somebody get shot right in front of you. And Jacob was obviously taken to the hospital. It's a miracle that he wasn't murdered and didn't perish in the incident, but it's reported that he apparently is paralyzed from the waist down, potentially for life, unknown if it's something that he can possibly recover from, but he's in obviously grave circumstances. And right now, I haven't heard anything conclusive saying if there was a weapon or something on Jacob, if there was a weapon in the car or not. But it just is very shocking to watch the entire incident happen, and it just leaves you with so many questions about why was he shot? Why was the need for him to be shot? He didn't make any threatening actions towards these officers. You can't hear any audio in terms of what's being said by him or the officers, but I don't see anything that justifies, based on what I saw in the one video, the response to shoot him at point blank range in the back as he's entering a vehicle and everything. What I did find out was that because of Wisconsin law, that any officer involved shooting there cannot be investigated by the agency in which the officer is employed at. So that kind of does explain. What's that?
I said that's potentially good.
Yeah.
That is something that is interesting, and it is something that is not done by very many departments, but it is a really good progressive thing from how I perceive it. But I guess
I'm sorry, can I just ask a real quick question? Because that's new information to me, and I think it's important. Do you know, Stitch, whether it's like the county or someone from the Capitol that comes in, or the feds, or?
From my understanding, from what I read, it's either a different agency. Now I don't know if that means like if it's the county agency or if it's overlooked by a state agency, or if it's a different municipality or a different, like a neighboring town that would look into it. Obviously, the criticism when you're doing your own internal affairs investigation is that you're investigating your own people, and that leaves the perception of this could be biased and not appropriately looked into. So I guess the negative side for that is that I've not heard any statements or anything describing what it is that is being claimed that the officers his justifications for his actions were. If it were maybe more of an internal investigation, the chief could say, this is where we stand with the investigation. We're looking into charges, or we're doing this, or we're doing that. But since a different agency is now in charge of the entire incident, essentially the Kenosha Police Department has no say or no knowledge about what is being found out in the investigation, which is an interesting sort of turn of events, because that's something that we're not really used to as a general society public in terms of these officer involved shootings.
Kronos?
Yeah, it was oh shit. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
You can?
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking there you
We
go.
can, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I watched the video and I was fucking baffled on why an officer that had his hands on an unarmed person didn't just pull him away from the car. If the point was not to get him in the car, then why wouldn't you just physically restrain him? I mean, he was literally tearing his shirt when he could have just grabbed him by the shoulder and pulled him back out of the car and then physically detained him. They could have physically detained him as he was walking around the car.
Yeah,
I don't understand the whole point of, like, you have your gun on him. There was at least, there's like 4 or 5 officers. There was a squad there, an entire squad there, and they let him walk around his car with guns trained on him, and he's unarmed. He's not showing any sort of aggression that I saw, and unless there's something that happened on the other side of the car that we didn't see prior to the video being shown. But at that point, it's like 5 of you fucking couldn't take this guy down. 5 of you couldn't physically restrain this guy, and so you had your hands on the guy. You're pulling on him, and then you decide, fuck it, I'm just gonna shoot this dude in the back multiple times. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And I've already seen people trying to, call this guy a thug, say that, he had a warrant for his arrest, say that the police were called on him because he apparently took somebody's keys, and then he was going to be charged with 3rd-degree sexual assault, which is basically just like touching somebody inappropriately. And I'm just like, an adult, not a fucking kid or anything like that, an adult.
Like a booty grab?
And none of that shit's adding up to me. None of that is worth, shooting somebody in the back for, or shooting somebody in general for. I don't understand why people keep trying to devalue human life to this level. Like, this guy didn't kill anybody. He didn't rape anybody. None of that shit happened. Like, I don't see why police officers are escalating force like this. It seems ridiculous to me. And the fact that civilians that are out there today don't seem to understand the value of human life, and they're just like, yeah, fuck this guy because he did something potentially that was wrong, even though he was never put in front of a judge. He wasn't put in front of a jury. We don't know if the accusations were correct. You're just assuming that he's a thug because he's black, I guess. Like, I don't really the guy had no chance to possibly defend himself in the court of law. Meanwhile, the Court of Public Appeals is already saying this guy is a thug in multiple news outlets and people, out on the internet. And it's just like, this based upon what? Like, you need to justify this guy's death immediately because you don't want to take a look inside of yourself and realize that you're a fucking piece of shit if you think that somebody's life is not worth, you think somebody's life is worth objects, just like property. And it's not even like property. Like, in this instance, property wasn't even fucking stolen. Maybe some keys, possibly somebody's keys. If that's worth the human life for you, I hope your fucking kids are never in that situation where they might have stolen something and they get fucking shot. You know what I mean? Or they have a toy gun and they get shot. Or they're sleeping and they get fucking shot. I don't understand why people don't see how this is a fucking serious problem today, and it keeps happening. And people keep wondering why. Oh, well, when are the protests going to stop? This is really inconvenient for me. This is why it's not fucking stopping. In the middle of us having nationwide protests, worldwide protests, we are still seeing unarmed minorities killed in the street on video, and society is still making excuses for the police for this shit.
So
it's not going to stop until that shit stops. It's going to escalate.
Yeah, I want to interject really quick 2 points about what Cronus just said. So the people that are accusing him in the court of public opinions, they literally call him a criminal. Now, 2 things. One that's factual is that he's never been convicted. He hasn't been convicted of a crime that I have seen as of yet. So according to apparently public record just shows that has a warrant. You can literally have a warrant for not for a
going to
traffic
court.
ticket,
Yeah.
for not going to court,
Yeah.
for a traffic ticket. Does that make you a criminal? But apparently not, I guess. But apparently it makes this dude automatically a criminal because he has a warrant out. Granted, I understand what the warrant ensues. It is upsetting and maybe disturbing, but this man was not convicted of a crime. He just had a warrant out, and people were saying that he's a criminal. And we're going to talk about something probably later on, obviously, but this has prompted people to take up like the law in their own hands. Apparently,
Yeah, we'll
Well,
get into that.
we'll get into that later, but still.
One crazy thing we didn't mention is that, or maybe I missed it, but like when the guy was going back into his car, he had 3 kids inside the fucking car, and so his kids got to watch their dad get shot in the back by police officers, and it's like those kids are fucked up for life. Like holy shit, can you imagine just being in the back? I think I can't remember the age of the kids, but could you imagine like you're sitting in the back, there's police cars around, and your dad comes into the car, and all of a sudden you hear 7 shots go off, and your dad's just laying there. Like, man, come on.
Apparently, according to one of the videos, one of the little girl asked, "Why did the police shoot my daddy?"
Damn.
But even it doesn't even matter if he is a so-called criminal or not, or whatever. There's no justification for using deadly force in that situation. I mean, he could have a warrant for God knows what. It doesn't matter. He's not a threat to you as an officer or to the general public in general. Now, if for some reason, they're like, it aggravates me that people are playing these like mental gymnastics. Oh, well, this, well, maybe blah, blah, blah. Like, you have to deal with the facts that you have at hand. Obviously, he was not a threat at any time when he was walking to the vehicle because you let him go to the car. Now, you're not technically, you should never let somebody go to their vehicle once they've been removed from the vehicle. That's a big safety no-no because you don't know what he is going to retrieve or whatever from the vehicle. But if that's the case, tackle him, wrap him up. If you are so fearful that he might be going to go get a fucking gun, like, I don't know if you guys remember White Men Can't Jump, when homeboy gets embarrassed at the basketball game and he's just like, yo, I'm gonna go grab my piece and I'm gonna shoot this motherfucker up or whatever. And let's say he did say something crazy ridiculous. Like, if I'm the officer there, I'm not going to just be like, I'm gonna let him get all the way and touch the car so I can just like, no, you and your boys are there. It's not a one-on-one thing. Dog pile him and tackle him or whatever. Don't let him get to that vehicle. And if he gets to the vehicle and there's no, like, what is the imminent threat that is there from him getting into the car? I mean, I've heard people say, oh, well, he had a knife on him. It could have been, I mean, that's after the fact. I didn't see him brandishing the knife.
No, even then, having a knife, well, having a knife in general is not illegal.
No.
It's not illegal.
Exactly.
Unless you got a fucking Rambo knife in California. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure in his state, you can have whatever fucking length knife that you want. It's not illegal to have a goddamn knife.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, even if let's say he had a knife in his hands and he's walking to his car and he just gets in his car and drives away, then okay, there's no reason to shoot him or whatever. You know who he is or whatever. He's got a knife and he's driving off.
Can I say this too? And I think you guys have all like laid it out quite well in terms of just the facts and what we see in the video. I'm glad it was recorded, of course, and I'm glad he's alive. But here's the thing too. When you shoot somebody in the back 7 goddamn times, that is about as deliberate an attempt to kill you as you could possibly fucking get. Like, there's no accidents going on here. There's no, oops, I thought it was my fucking taser. This is, your ass is going, I'm trying to kill you right here, right now. Fuck your kids in the car. I'm trying to kill you.
Dude, freaking
he pulled a Tupac in surviving.
Well,
thankfully.
50 Cent got shot 9 times, so and he survived that.
But I want to be real clear. Yeah, I agree with the whole tackling. I agree. You have 2 or 3 other guys there, 2 or 3 other officers there. The other thing is, I heard, I don't know if this is factual yet, but I heard he was trying to break up a fight between 2 other individuals.
Right.
That's what I heard too. But I also heard a 911 call where they were calling 911 on him for taking somebody's like his ex-girlfriend's keys. But then I also heard that he was out in front of the place where he lived barbecuing. So I'm like, how do you steal somebody's keys and he's outside barbecuing? So like it doesn't it's just not adding up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's a dis. Go
I
ahead.
wonder if that person was drunk and that's why he took away the keys. That's like one thing I can think of. It's a barbecue, you know, somebody had too much to drink, so they took their keys away and they're like, I'm gonna call the police on you and blah blah, and that just escalated things from here on. I mean, I'm just assuming that's the reason why.
Yeah, I mean, the guy could have been an asshole. I don't know, but taking somebody's keys don't deserve to die.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's I don't have some fucking crazy high moral standard. I've got no problem killing people, but it has to be justified.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna go around just killing people for no fucking reason. You know.
Yeah. And I will say
So from
this
my
too.
understanding, this department. From my understanding, this department does not have body cameras on their officers, which I think should be a national requirement from all police agencies. Because if we did not have somebody with cell phone footage, I mean, this would just be what we wouldn't hear about it. It wouldn't get any attention, and it would just be one person's word versus another's. So it's
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Well, people that are against the whole body camera thing, it works both ways. Like the body camera, it keeps the civilian protected and it keeps the cop protected as well. There was a story, I was actually watching a video. There was an officer, I forget what city it was, but basically he arrested some woman who was very scantily clad, by the way, when she got arrested. She was drunk as fuck. She, you know, failed the fucking field sobriety test, blew way over the limit, got taken into custody, and then she said that she was raped.
Who did she blow?
Yeah.
Well, she alleged that she was raped by the officer that arrested her, and she was physically assaulted and raped multiple times and kidnapped. And so the police officer released the body cam, and none of that shit fucking happened.
Yep.
So it's to protect both parties.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Cameras are good things. They really are. Are we going to go into, obviously Wisconsin is engulfed in protests. Some people would label it riot. Some people would label it both, but that shit set off pretty much immediately. Obviously that's to no one's surprise, especially after since the George Floyd murder, we've had really months of protests. Some of them haven't been covered as well, but the protests have been going on throughout the country and throughout the world. But what was it? So I'm trying to separate fact from fiction when it comes to this. I guess he's a minor. Supposedly the 17-year-old willing the assault, right? Is he a minor?
Yeah, that's minor.
Well, I mean,
in that state.
Yeah, technically, yeah. I mean, you're 17, you're a minor. Yeah, you can still be tried as an adult, but if we're going by just black and white, 17 is a minor. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But
depends on if you're depends on your ethnic group. Like seriously, yeah. It does.
Yes,
it really
those
does.
facts.
You can be 7 and get tried as an adult, and we've seen that happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are facts. Oh, so, I'm sorry. So set it up if someone has like the true breakdown of it.
Yeah, so this is the problem with the breakdown is that I didn't see the beginning. So basically there was a guy, the 17-year-old. He didn't live in Wisconsin in that city. He went there with an AR-15, I guess looking for trouble because I don't know why you would go to someone that's protesting to be an anti-protester with a firearm. Like it doesn't make any goddamn sense to me logically. Like you could do Blue Lives Matter somewhere else. You know what I mean? Probably not go there with a gun and talk about it. Anyway, the problem with me is that I don't see what happened in the beginning. What I do see is he's getting chased, but what I'm assuming is that he shot somebody before he got chased.
Yeah, because in the video you hear people saying he shot somebody, and then you have one guy who's running up from behind him and kind of sucker punch him. Not sucker punch him, but he does punch him in the back of his head.
He hits him. Yeah, he hits him. But I mean, he just shot somebody. What the, and the cops weren't doing shit. And we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, so anyway, apparently, from what I understand, he shot somebody before this happened, before the video started, and he's getting chased down by this skater with a skateboard. He gets hit by a skateboard, and then this guy shoots 2 other people. So he killed 2 people, And the reason why I say I don't know, because like when the video first starts, I know somebody got shot in the face and died on the scene, and that is not in the video. So that's why I'm assuming that's what led up to this, like where the video started.
Yeah.
So I can only assume that. So yeah, he shoots 2 other people, fires multiple shots. Everybody's fucking clearing out. There's literally cops half a block away from them. They had to have heard shots fired. It's fucking impossible not to unless they're pumping music in the fucking cop cars, which I don't think is even possible. Right, Stitch?
I mean, I don't know why you
You don't have
would.
stereos, right? Yeah. Anyway, so he gets away from the scene. He walks towards a cop car with his hands up
With
and
an AK or AR around his fucking neck.
with the AR-15 on him. Obviously, there's shots, and they're responding to shots fired.
Yes.
Three fucking SWAT vehicles pass this guy up as he's walking towards another cop car. None of them stop him
But they
on a call for shots
they
fired.
even get on their PA system and it's like, hey, did somebody get injured over here? And the guy's like, yeah, they're over there. It's like,
Yeah, the guys that I
Yeah.
shot.
Jesus
they're
Christ.
definitely injured because I shot them.
oh,
And so anyway, his hands are up. You know, he's walking past the cars, and I think at one point he realizes, holy shit, they're not arresting me. Until he walks up to the actual, like the squad car, walks up to them, says something to them in the window with his hands up, and then just fucking walks away. Just walks away. This is fucking amazing to me. How the fuck do we have conversations about what a minority cannot do around the police? Meanwhile, this dude literally just killed 2 people, injured another, and walks away from the scene directly in front of the police officers, and they don't stop him. Listen, if you're coming onto the scene for shots fired, I'll tell you this as a Marine. If somebody's telling me, listen, somebody just got shot over there, well, first of all, anybody with a fucking firearm is probably gonna get shot the fuck up. Or as a Marine,
Yeah, exactly.
that's wartime shit. But if you're a police officer, I would assume that if somebody says shots fired, anybody with a firearm in the vicinity is getting detained at minimum.
Yeah.
If not fucking, that's at minimum is getting detained. Everybody get the fuck on the ground until we sort this shit out.
Aggressively.
None of that shit happened. Nobody got out of their fucking cars. They didn't question the guy. Nothing.
It's mind blowing.
I mean,
to go. Oh, sorry.
They did question him if somebody was hurt, but that was it. They just,
If somebody hurt, yeah, the ones that I hurt, they're hurt. They're still hurt.
Yeah.
They're still
Other
shot.
than that, he's able to he keeps walking with his hands up, like literally, because if you watch the video, it's literally a police barricade, and barricade opens to let the SWAT vehicles in, and he talks to them, he talks to almost everyone that's coming through, and the people that's in his direct vicinity, and then he keeps going, and the person that's filming, that has the camera, is still video recording this, so you see all this happen. So.
It's
Who was the poor kid that got shot with a toy gun? I forget the kid's name.
Tamir Rice.
Tamir Rice.
Tamir Rice. Okay, that's what I had in my mind. I just can't remember if it was the right name or not. Tamir Rice got shot by the police with a fake gun.
Yep.
They didn't even talk to him. Didn't even talk to him.
He was on a swing.
Meanwhile,
He was on a swing.
Yeah.
At a playground.
Yeah.
On a playground.
Meanwhile, they 100% knew that there were shots fired at this place. And there's a guy with a firearm that, guess what, shoots bullets.
and
And they just let him go. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Go ahead, Stitch.
well, at the beginning part of the story, the kid traveled from out of state. He's from Illinois. So not only did he fucking go to this thing, he traveled, from what I was, I guess, reading, 45 minutes to defend this city in this state that he does not fucking live in.
You're not fucking Batman.
Unfucking believable or whatever. Him even possessing that gun in that state is illegal because he's a minor, and minors can't have assault rifles in Wisconsin. So him even going there with that rifle is fucking wrong or whatever from that aspect of it. So then you get to that part, to the actual crime that takes place, and I've seen spattering videos showing somebody getting, I guess, the guy who got shot in the head. I've seen some stuff, but I don't know how legit that is, so I don't want to give comments on it if it is what it is. But regardless, you have an active shooter, do you not? I mean, it's an active fucking shooter situation in terms of you're literally a block away. There's rifle rounds going off. Now, Kronos I know for sure has heard the difference between a rifle and a handgun, and those sounds
Yeah.
are vastly different or whatever. you can have ear protection on, and that shit
Still
rings
hear it.
way different. Yeah, that's not fireworks. That's not like pop rocks, firecrackers, or anything like that. Those are rifle rounds that you were hearing, and it looks like they are a block away, maybe a block and a half away from where this takes place. Like the video is maybe like 2 minutes long.
Hold on. Stitch, and they're facing that direction.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They're literally facing the
They
direction.
can
So I'm
see
like,
what's going on.
and so if you have an active shooter, and it just blows my mind, and like it just kills me because I sort of, when I see these videos, I try to put myself in a position and be like, all right, how would I handle this situation? And if I was at an active shooter, and this is some of the things I've always preached about why I think like open carry leads to problems, especially during like active shooter situations, is you don't know who is the good guy and who is the bad guy. But regardless, I have my gun out and I'm not letting you approach me, especially if you have a rifle or a gun in your hand. Like I'm not, like you're not walking towards me. It's my gun's out. It's pointed at you. I have a. If you're the good guy, then whatever. We'll talk it over, and I determine you aren't the threat. But you're gonna stop where the fuck you're at. You're not going to touch your rifle, and we're gonna figure shit out. But don't walk up towards me. Don't adjust your sling or whatever and try to manipulate your rifle, because you can come, especially if you're in a car. How are you going to unholster and do your 3-step mechanism to get your firearm out while you're seated in your car while this guy has a rifle or like over his shoulder where he can just be up from low ready to aim in the shoot in a half a second. Meanwhile, you're just sitting in the car chilling, and you're at a point of disadvantage where this guy has an assault rifle that could possibly just turn you into fucking Swiss cheese. And then as it progresses on, he's just walking closer and closer. This is saying, he shot somebody. He shot somebody. Yo, he just shot somebody. Well, it's like they're not even listening to what it is that's going around. So the situational awareness is fucked.
Look at these thugs. Look at these thugs saying this kid killed somebody.
Pretty
Look at
much.
these thugs.
Pretty fucking much, man.
Their whole situation. So, huh?
I know. I was just saying. I remember, like in previous, when we talked about teachers having guns, and if there's an active shooter, and you're saying that that's stupid for teachers to have guns because when a cop shows up on scene, they don't know who's what, and so like having a teacher with a gun just makes the situation worse. So by
it doesn't matter who it is. If you got a gun, you're the threat at that point in time. Exactly. I don't know if you're good or bad. I'll figure it out later, but I got to get that gun away from you, and then we'll have a conversation or whatever. So. But this is all going to happen while my gun is pointed at you.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a stressful situation. But then they're asking him questions. He's like touching the police vehicle while he's holding this fucking rifle in his hand or whatever, like having conversations with him. Like, yeah, that way, and he just fucking walks off into the sunset.
So look,
I cannot wrap my brain around this.
Let me just say, and I appreciate the frustration. We've talked about it a bunch of times on this show. To me, basically what he did was suicide by cop, but no suicide by cop happened. If you're an active shooter and you got that, people are saying you are a shooter. You're in an active shooting situation, and you have a firearm on you when you're walking towards officers. That's about as close to I would like to be suicided by a cop as you could possibly fucking get. This kid had the right complexion. I mean, just call it what it is. And I think he has been charged now, I believe, if the internet is correct.
Today, I believe.
But
he got arrested in Illinois. He made it back home, and then he got arrested.
Holy shit. And you didn't have to go looking for... I'm sorry, just to go back to this. You did not have to go look... Where's your fucking mama at? You're a high school kid. You're 17. Where's your father? Where's your uncle? Where are your guardians to allow you to cross state lines in premeditated ruckus and then a possible murder?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like this is like the perfect example of racism in America. This is the perfect. So if y'all want to sit out there and think that America's still not racist, look at this, just this single scenario. And really think about it. If you think it's still not racist, then you have a lot of growing up to do.
Mm.
Like, seriously. On what fucking planet can somebody literally kill people and then walk away? If he was black or Mexican, any kind of minority, there would be no fucking way that there would be shots fired and the person just walked away, holding the fucking weapon that he used to kill people. Like, it's not hard to put two and two together. These must be the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet to let him do this. You know, and I can almost guarantee you, probably nobody's gonna get fired over this shit. Probably nobody.
You have
because to me, it's 4 cars full of fucking dumbasses that should not be in law enforcement.
Period.
4 cars full of dumbasses.
I didn't even know Kenosha existed, so I don't know what their budget is or how much money they have. But they had all the toys. They had all the toys to have a fucking armadillo, all this SWAT shit, and all these officers lined up, geared the fuck up like they're in Call of Duty. None of that shit matters if you're too stupid to fucking recognize what the threat is, what the situation, whatever.
And this is when we come back to, you know, to redistributing the police budgets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to call it defund the police anymore because that's a terrible phrase to use. It needs to be redistributing police funds because there was 3 APCs on site. What were they doing?
Nothing.
What did they stop? Did they they didn't do shit because they gave them all these fucking toys they have no idea how to fucking use. They just paraded them off. That's literally what they did, a parade past this guy.
Yeah.
A parade.
Dude, I just rewatched the video right now, and there was actually 4 SWAT cars that drove by him. And SWAT cars, these are big as fucking vehicles.
They're APCs.
And they drive them by him. But when
he's
he's walking toward the cops, he has his hand on the butt of the gun, and he's walking toward the cop. Like, he probably puts his hands up for like 3 seconds before he puts it back down, puts his hand back on the butt of the gun. And it's like, are you fucking serious? This guy's walking to you with a loaded weapon, and nothing happened. Like, nothing happened to him other than him walking by and walking to the sunset, like Stitch said. Like, nothing fucking happened to this dude at the time. Like, did he even get arrested on the scene, or did they go to his house later on and arrest him?
No, he went home.
Jesus.
He went home.
He probably made a bowl of fucking cereal, Lucky Charms. And
yeah, he was good. He was good to go.
Played a little Call of Duty.
Yeah,
he's probably on Call of Duty boasting. I just killed a couple darkies today.
Pretty much.
Well, actually, no. He actually. It's the crazy part is I know at least one person that was killed was white.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like they just don't. I mean, they don't see they don't see us on the same level of threat as, you know, a Caucasian male, and it's a problem because. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to make excuses for, you know, any sort of black violence, but I can only think off the top of my head, literally one African descent mass shooter in America. One. Literally one.
The sniper dude, right?
And it was a DC shooter. Yeah, that was it.
Meanwhile,
meanwhile, America's taught to be afraid of black people, of black men especially. Yeah. And it's just like the numbers do not support the policing that are being done, again, especially when it comes to violent crime. When you talk about criminals, most criminals are non-violent criminals. If you look up all the statistics, people that are in jail, the vast majority are in jail for fucking minor drug crimes.
Yep.
The vast majority. Or for having a suspended license.
Think about it like this.
Because they can't pay the tickets.
You had a protester who was armed with a skateboard have more courage to take on somebody with an assault rifle than you had a police officer go after somebody unarmed who was scared to go hands-on.
That's fucking embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
It's sad. And like I said, I call it how I see it, and that's how I mean. Sometimes I think the cops have it in the right. Sometimes I think the person who was a victim has it right. I don't see how you can see it any other way unless you're doing mental gymnastics.
Well, if you...
Well, it's crazy to me.
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
Well, if you listen to some of the...
Fox News?
Fox News, there's an anchor on there had basically said that this guy was doing what the police should have done or something like that, and it's fucking heartbreaking for something like that. Like I posted in the chat, and basically they talk about how Blake was a thug, and this kid was a patriot, and it's like, are you fucking serious, dude? Like your view on the world is fucking twisted as fuck if you think that. And there's people in because this was a Twitter post, and there's people that agree with what the dude said, and it's like, wow, people are fucked up right now. Like it's insane, like how people can think that.
I don't think it's right now. I think it's been that way. It's just that now through social media we're able to see it more prevalent. There's people out there videotaping and Facebook and Snapchat and Instagramming it all over the place. So we're able to see what people have really been able to hide this whole time for like literally decades.
I mean, it even goes beyond that, though. I mean, listen, if you honestly policed, I've said this multiple times before, but if you policed an affluent, mostly Caucasian neighborhood,
Mhm.
the same way they police the ghetto, you would see fucking police reform immediately.
Oh yeah,
Because guess what? You would catch the same amount of fucking crimes. Actually, it might even be more so because people are comfortable with where they live. They can do drugs where the fuck they want, and nobody's gonna fucking come knocking on their door. Nobody's fucking pulling them over, asking what the fuck is in their car. You know, these are all crimes. Everybody commits fucking crimes.
Yep.
Everybody does. If you drive a car, you commit a crime. It's literally impossible to drive more than 10 minutes and commit literally 0 traffic infractions.
Mhm.
It's literally impossible. So people don't really seem to understand that it's where they happen to police is where you get criminals and what you are actually enforcing. You know what I mean? And they just don't get it. Like if you listen to this podcast and you're of European descent and you go to a mostly European descent school, how many kids do you know, or even just growing up, when you're growing up, how many kids do you know that did drugs?
Yeah.
Seriously, it's probably no less than me.
Yeah.
I went to a very diverse school. It had to be more than half the people that you knew.
Yep.
Way more than half. Like I would say, probably the majority of the people that you knew at least had a fucking beer.
Mm-hmm.
Before they were 21, at least. Most of them probably at least had cannabis. Some of them did some more crazy shit.
Shit.
But guess what?
I bet
if
you-
you're in an affluent neighborhood, they're not fucking policing for that kind of shit. They're not policing that area at all. And it's also areas that have a small, they have vastly reduced police budgets. It's the problem that I have with stupid motherfuckers that understand police budgets. If you look at the police budget for Baltimore, it's like $3 billion for one goddamn
Yep.
city. You think it's $3 billion in Blackhawk?
No.
No, it's nowhere near that. If Blackhawk even had a fucking SWAT team, I'd be fucking surprised.
Yeah. For those outside of the Bay Area and even some in this Bay Area, Black Hawk is about as affluent as you can get in the East Bay. So substitute that for like Connecticut or any super ritzy neighborhood like the one that in the Boondocks or something.
Yeah, like maybe I guess Manhattan. I guess you know where Manhattan is,
Yeah.
right? I mean, even Manhattan. I guess Manhattan is still in New York, which isn't a great place.
Shit.
I guess just imagine the richest place you can think of, like Beverly
Yeah,
Hills.
Beverly
Think of
Hills.
Beverly Hills.
So have you all
That's a
seen
good
the
example.
Beverly Hills fucking police department?
No.
It literally looks like a fucking college. It's like a giant
fucked up.
3-story. I've been by there. I haven't been inside, but I've driven by there a few times. It is a giant. It looks like a giant, like literally a castle. It's like
Damn.
3 stories. It's structured like a fucking castle. It's the largest police department I've ever seen in my life. The
God
only
damn.
one that comes close is maybe Santa Clara, maybe, but like literally, I want to say Beverly Hills the police department could probably fit 3 police departments in that one building.
God damn.
But I can guarantee you the amount of crimes that they're catching, negligent. I can guarantee you they probably don't have a very large. If they have a SWAT team, I'd be surprised. They probably rely on another district's SWAT team. They probably don't have an APC. They probably don't have fucking a lot of shit that you would assume. The building you're looking at is just showing just like what's expected for the area.
Yep.
But I can almost guarantee you their budget is nowhere near like the East LA, police department's budget.
Agreed.
Nowhere near.
So
that.
here's a picture of the Beverly
shit.
Hills Police Department.
Oh yeah,
Hey.
it looks awesome.
Holy
Art
shit.
Deco. Look at that thing.
Yeah, it's fucking
God
huge,
damn it.
man.
Yeah.
It looks like it's fucking huge.
And I tell you what, though, Beverly Hills High got all kinds of coke. I tell you what, you can't throw a fucking spitball without hitting a cokehead at Beverly Hills High. I guarantee it.
You know what's funny? If you take what Trump said about COVID testing, that the reason why we're getting more cases of COVID is because we're doing more testing. same thing if you think about with the police. If you have more police out there arresting people, you're gonna get more criminals, basically.
Ski. God damn. I think we covered this pretty well. What do y'all think? Any final?
Oh, here. Here you go. Here's the revenue for the general fund for Beverly Hills Police Department. Guess how much money they're spending?
30 million? 200 million.
It's 265 million.
Damn.
And that's like way less. If you look at like other areas, actually that's just revenue. Oh, I gotta look at the actual fucking where they're getting how much actually costs to run the city.
It's a smallish city.
Yeah, it's not even that big of a city.
Yeah.
Anybody on my Facebook timeline, anybody who's saying that the whole Blake was a thug and Kyle is a patriot, they're getting fucking deleted from my timeline. Family, cousins, blood. I can know you for 20, 30 decades. No, you ain't family anymore. You out from my Facebook. I don't need that kind of negativity in my life.
Yeah, man.
Damn. In Beverly Hills, they're looking to find savings in their budget.
God damn.
Like there's stories on finding savings in their budget. Like this is fucking hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah, it's insane to me.
Holy fucking shit, y'all. Where do you want to go from here? Because I mean, it's not that I'm trying to switch gears, but because I know that this is important. But there's so much going on. I mean, we haven't even mentioned, just to quickly grab the wheel. Haven't even mentioned California's on fucking fire still.
Today was like the first day in like days we were able to like actually go outside and breathe like actual non-smoke air, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So if you guys kind of rolling with that, if you didn't know, last 2 weekends ago, we had a serious thunderstorm. There was over 11,000 lightning strikes that happened, and it was a beautiful show. Like, don't get me wrong, like seeing lightning and stuff, that shit was epic. But yeah, we're paying a price. I think right now California has what was it 365 fires going on right now in California alone, and one of them that's burning near us is literally the size. I think they said it's the size of Rhode Island.
God
Like,
damn.
It's the second.
Okay. Sorry, let me just run for a minute. I want to talk about the two. So I was looking at the city of Beverly Hills, like their actual budget. The number that I told you was for the whole city. That was their entire budget. And out of their entire budget, they spend less than $80 million on the police budget.
Jesus.
Less than $80 million. And it's Beverly Hills. All right. So just think about let that fucking sink in. And they're just fine. They're safe as fuck.
Yep.
With all their cokeheads in their neighborhoods. You can bet that there is a family in Beverly Hills that lets their underage kids drink at the house and have their friends come over.
Plenty of them, actually. Oh boy.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the
supposedly, I guess it's the second and third largest fires in the state history, and they're going on at the same time. I don't know what the first one was. I don't know if that was the Butte fire that happened like last year.
I think it was the one last year. Yeah.
Okay, so that might have been the first one, but we got number 2 and 3 happening at the same place. I mean, at the same time or whatever in the state, which is crazy.
So the SCU one, the one that's burning in Santa Cruz area, that one is the second largest. But the one that I just talked about is actually it surpassed that. It's now number 1.
God damn.
As of today, which is
and President Trump came on and said that he's had the idea for a while to just clean up the floor, and that's how you fix it. You just sweep the floors and rake it up. So okay, first of all, what research have you done on the impact of raking up every single square mile of California forest floors? What impact that would have on the flora and fauna of the area? Fucking zero. Why? Because you're a goddamn moron. Second of all, it's literally millions upon millions of square miles. So it's not even fucking feasible. Not even feasible to do it. Second of all, a lightning strike is 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. A single lightning strike. Okay, I don't give a shit unless you're literally fucking water. If a lightning strike hits something, it's probably gonna fucking catch on fire because it's hotter than the fucking surface of the sun. Like, what the fuck are you even talking about? He doesn't understand how basic science works. And people that talk about how we have fires all the time here in California they don't really seem to understand. Listen, that's like me complaining about people in the South getting fucking hurricanes. It's like, yeah, you get hurricanes. Like, I understand that's how nature is. You're gonna get hurricanes, and if I prayed, I would pray the people in the South right now because they're gonna get hit by 2 hurricanes in a fucking row. But people, outside of California, they don't seem to understand that most of California used to be a desert, okay, and we don't get that much water usually for most of California, not all, most of California.
Yep.
So we usually have to rely on El Nino for rainfall, for the vast majority of our rainfall, and then also outside water sources. But the outside water sources are insignificant when it comes to the dry seasons, because obviously we're not going to fucking water the forest with water from fucking Colorado. It's for drinking water. So yeah, I mean, until he really has, or anybody that listens to this, until you have a strong grasp of weather patterns, just shut the fuck up. Just shut up.
And
Yes, it happens. Pretty much every year, but that's the way it works here in California.
Or here's the other thing too, and I completely agree with where you're coming from, Kronos. Cal Fire actually does some in-depth scientific analysis, and makes recommendations. You could open up the bank on some federal funds. We're the largest state in the union in terms of population. You could open up the bank and provide some additional federal funds for some of Cal Fire's recommendations for fire prevention long term. But you don't want to do that.
No.
Well, I'm actually glad you said that, because a lot of these fires, they're started in federally run national parks.
True. Very true.
So when President Trump talks about let's clean up the floors, it's like, why don't you talk to the fucking? These are federally owned land. So why aren't you using your power as the president, or and start actually researching into how you can fix this? Instead, no, you decide to shit on local governments because you're not a goddamn leader, because you don't know how to actually fucking lead.
So kind of rolling back,
He doesn't even know that he's in charge of that shit.
roll back on what I said. So it isn't the number one largest fire. It's still number two. Stitch is right. The Napa fire that we had last year is number one by
I mean,
like that much.
And that was caused by PG&E.
For him, that you would read, we've it's a broken record. We've talked about it before. He doesn't believe in science, and he's when you don't believe in science, this is what you have when you spew off just completely ignorant fucking suggestions or whatever. I think Kronos put out the thing about, why don't we just aim all fans at the fucking hurricane and push it in a different direction, or we shoot a missile into it and blow it up or whatever. This is what happens when you have a narcissist in charge of shit. They don't listen to anybody's opinion except their own, no matter how wrong that they believe. I mean, no matter how wrong it is obvious that they are. I mean, it's like, this is the situation that we're in.
I kind of wanted to to rewind the tape a little bit. Getting back to the cow kid, I felt like if you go into this room, you're going to see a bunch of Trump 2020 posters and stuff like that, because Trump did talk about a lot, like, we need to be harder and we need to kill these protesters and stuff like that. So I really feel that this kid probably was influenced by stuff that Trump said. I mean,
that does remind me.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because that reminded me. And I wanted to make this point before the cast or whatever to remember, but thank you for reminding me. You literally had a couple from St. Louis who became infamous by pointing their guns at protesters outside of their house, not even on their property, but pointed guns, the couple of them with their fingers on the trigger, just at people protesting. And then months later, now you have somebody compelled to go back. You had those people speaking now at the Republican National Convention in front of millions of people as some sort of heroes and something to be looked up to for what it is that they did, which they were arrested for, they were charged with in terms of brandishing a weapon at protesters, and you're praising them. And then you wonder why months later you have somebody taking it a step further by going out and being proactive about protecting the land or being armed and attacking protesters. This is the bed that you made.
Well said. God damn, man.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of this fucking cast. Go ahead.
I'm just tired. I think most of us are we're just tired of seeing this shit. You know, and it keeps getting. America as a whole is so fucking stubborn on just even acknowledging the past and the current. Like people say, you know, slavery was such a long time ago, but also they don't recognize all the other things that happened between slavery and the civil rights movement and all the shit that happened in the civil rights movement until today. And they still keep going on and they keep putting their head in the sand and not even willing to understand exactly the pain that people are going through. Seeing somebody that looks like them getting shot, it's on almost like a 2-week basis at this point, where somebody's being either shot or, you know, horribly injured or something like that at the hands of the police. All right, and they're minorities, and it happens to people that are, you know, European American as well, which adds on to that. So when somebody says that, oh well, white people get fucking, you know, shot too by the police, it's like, okay, that makes it worse. Like, how the fuck does that make it better?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand like your whole point here. That's more people. Yeah, it's like
I'm going to speak for all black people. We don't actually want innocent white folks just shot by unarmed white folks shot by the police either. Like that's not something we cheer on or are hopeful about. That's not on our fucking wish list. You know what I mean?
No.
Did we briefly talk about the was it Louisiana? The gamer, the guy who came out, he was gaming because his neighbors called, said like, we talked about that dude got shot by cops, and he complied with what they said. He had a weapon because he thought someone broke in. They told him to drop the weapon, and he did, and then they shot him.
God damn.
I was like, wait, how did you?
It was. I don't know if he dropped the gun, but it was just like it was fucked up because you come bang on somebody's door, and if they don't know who the fuck you are, like he's not shooting at you. Like honest, like I watched the video and it was just like, what the fuck is going on here? Why is there so many cops here? And then he didn't point the gun at anybody. He was it was down, and then all of a sudden they just shot him. And I was just like, what the fuck? And in San Jose, did you guys see the San Jose one?
No, I didn't hear about San Jose.
Where they just beat the shit. Oh my god! So apparently, there's this couple in San Jose. It was somebody's birthday, and they went, you know, to a hotel, got drunk, and they were playing loud music, and so they got a complaint for loud music in a hotel. A bunch of cops showed up for loud music. I'm just like, why is there more than one?
Oh.
Like it should like one, maybe two, you know, for like backup. But there was like 5-6 cops showed up at their door knocking on it, and they were like, okay, we'll turn the music down, and then they were like, okay, well y'all gotta go.
Whoa.
And they were like, what the fuck? And okay, we'll pack. So they're packing, and it's like, and the officer said, y'all need to speed it up. And then this is all on fucking camera. And he's like, okay, get the riot gear. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, they're literally packing. They're doing what the fuck you said, and they're packing. And they what did they do? They pulled the chick out, and they tased her. Then they shot the guy with the fucking non-lethal round in the gut, and they tased him too. And it was just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Wow!
Like, because they weren't fast enough, you gonna do this shit? Stitch, you got to watch the video.
I have to see it. I haven't seen that one. I'm actually check that one out.
Wow,
it was real fucked up.
This almost sounds similar, even though this kind of happened to me and my cousin. I mean, y'all been pulled over before, and like, y'all. Probably, I'm gonna assume, or I should actually ask, has any of the cops that pulled you over called in for backup for whatever traffic violation that you've been in? Because it's happened to me. No.
Yes, as a pedestrian, actually, but go ahead.
So, as a pedestrian? Well, I mean, you do walk kind of weird.
I'm like Ezra on the Flash.
That's all bad. So Prodigy or Oathbreaker, that's happened to me also as a pedestrian, and it was actually excessive backup, if you ask me. And then it happened again when I was driving with my cousin. So they called for backup because he had expired plate. He had an expired tag. So literally they waited for us to leave Jack in the Box, pulled us over, called in for backup, and they made us sit out of the car, and I
Well,
was like, well, I'm gonna eat my
and-
food while y'all.
And you
start
were in a
talking.
sundown town, so I'm
I was
done
gonna,
with
bro. Oh,
Possibly.
yeah,
Actually, you know what? Given its history, it's very,
it
very
is now.
possible because I've been stopped. I lived in the city, but I got stopped several times. But I got stopped by a helicopter on
God
foot.
damn!
By
Oh,
On some
helicopter.
GTA
Yeah.
5 shit.
Did it?
Yeah,
Did it
so-
land? Did it land?
No,
Like,
so-
hey, get on the
No,
ground.
what happened was I was leaving the library on foot, walking back to my
God damn.
apartment, and
You can't be getting books, Negro.
yeah, I
Come on
can't.
now, man.
apparently
You can't be educating
we're not
yourself.
supposed to read.
How you know how to read?
Yeah, I guess I can't read because the library just closed, and this is 6 o'clock. The library closed at 6, so I started walking home at like 6:05. I got stopped by because they made a V. They stopped me in a V section, so it was 2 black and whites, 2 like unmarked, 2 SUVs, and a helicopter while I was on
Holy
foot.
fuck.
So
Okay.
You like,
Um,
Oh, you know what's crazy?
There's
Go ahead.
no, I did. Oda did talking about the whole joke in the library. It made me think of that one joke where there's a slave driving his master, and he's coming up to a stop sign, but he didn't want his master to know that he could read, so he runs the stop sign, and he ends up getting into a car accident. And when the police come, they're like, "Hey, how come you didn't stop?" And he said something like, "I don't want you to think I can read that stop sign," or something like that. And they're like, "How do you know that's a stop sign?" And like they started beating him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was
Oh,
super
man.
racist joke, but that just made me think of that.
God damn.
terrible.
Two things. You know what's hilarious is that me and K-Mac were talking. She didn't know about Sundown Town until the last episode
Actually, I don't know what
of
that is.
Lovecraft Country. We'll watch Lovecraft Country, but it's a real thing. Basically, if you're black and if you're in a certain city, you cannot be seen past sundown.
Oh, okay,
And so she was saying that when she heard about the video of that kid killing those people, she was like, "What are these sundown towns now?" I was like, "Damn." And I'll be honest with you. On another note, I've had very few. I don't think any real like negative interactions with the police, like at all. Blue can tell you. For some reason, I had a streak of like being a fucking law enforcement whisperer for some reason, like where I would get out of tickets fucking left and right. And there was one time, remember that shit, Blue, when we were fucking speeding and shit on motorcycles?
Motorcycles, yes.
And we got, yeah, and literally a cop saved us, literally saved us from the sheriff's department.
Nice.
And what I mean by saved us, he said, "Hey, I'll take care of this. Y'all keep on going." And I was just like, "Damn."
That's awesome.
But me and Kanak were having a conversation about, like, how do I interact with cops? I'm like, okay, listen, when I deal with law enforcement, I don't give them like a crazy amount of like respect. Like I'm not going to call you sir. I'm probably not going to call you officer. I'll call you by your last name or whatever. But my whole thing when I interact with police officers, it's usually when I get pulled over, is that I have a whole like strategy. My main strategy is I want you to forget who the fuck I am. I'm gonna push back my court date twice and then do tribal declaration. And so when I do that, you probably forget who the fuck I am, and then you won't respond, and I will get my case dismissed in the interest of justice. What I see a lot of people fucking up on is that they get pulled over by the police and they start talking shit right away. I'm just like, why are you doing that? Like, what is the point?
Yeah.
Like, you're literally talking shit to somebody who's holding a firearm. Like, why are you gonna try to agitate this person? I'm not saying fucking prostrate yourself. I'm just saying don't talk shit to them.
I agree.
Like, just do what they like. Make the interaction as minimal as possible. Your fight is not with them. If you want to fight the law, it's not with the police officer. It's really not. They're trying to enforce laws, and yeah, sometimes they fuck up and they try to go like way too far. But you don't want to get into that situation at all.
No.
And I've never been into those such situations because I'm always like, listen, say the least amount as possible. Get back to your day. Deal with it in court, because my problem is with the court.
Yep.
And I have a high chance of winning in the court. I don't have a high chance of me talking shit to a police officer.
Nope.
So that's my tip to anybody.
So can we segue just a slight bit then? I think it's a great opportunity to actually bring up something we touched upon last week a little bit, which was that 99% Invisible episode about policing history when it comes to vehicles. I think everybody on the cast has possibly heard the episode that I'm referring to, right? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
it was good.
Yeah.
I have. Onager, did you
Yeah, I
listen?
listened to it just before the cast, actually.
It's only like 30, 35 minutes or something.
It's 48 minutes, but okay.
Okay, all right.
Jesus Christ, this guy's got
Goddamn, you specific. All right. But in any event, I wanted to really touch upon something that I found really surprising about it, which was this history of a reinterpretation of unreasonable search and seizure augmented for the car era. Like basically, it's from this history. It sounds like, and I need to read the book completely, and I already ordered it on Amazon or whatever. But it sounds like cars changed the entire game of officer discretion for searching someone's private property. Am I capturing that right, or am I saying that in an inaccurate
Yeah.
way?
You're saying it correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's factual.
Okay. And what I found fascinating is obviously, someone who I'm not a constitutional scholar, law scholar or anything. I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. But just the whole thing of unreasonable search and seizure and my basic knowledge of like how Law and Order and CSI shows work, where they need a warrant to go into your home, but if you're in your car, there are a myriad of ways in which an officer can obtain the correct path, I guess, to search your vehicle if he or she feels it's warranted. But I'll let someone else explain it better. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. It's a really massive thing to sort of break down in a 30-second, 60-second window or whatever. But yes, essentially when the whole Fourth Amendment part of the Constitution was created for search, seizure, they didn't really have cars in mind. It's mainly to say it's to protect you as a person from being seized by the government, which means being custody, or your home being searched from the government and having other people come into your house. When the cars came into the picture, essentially that changed the game because now you are in your own personal space, but it's a mobile space, so that's where things become become very, very gray. Depending on the situation, and I'll be very, very broad on it, but the podcast was really, really informative because they do touch on the history of the Constitution, how everything was changed, and it does progress into stuff that's going on with Berkeley that we touched upon in terms of the officers relinquishing their traffic enforcement duties or responsibilities or having them taken away from them by the city council, which is an interesting proposition. For a short layman's term, you're not supposed to have your vehicle searched unless there is probable cause that there is some sort of crime or criminal activity or something going on in that vehicle. And in order for that to be justified, the officer has to be able to be able to articulate in written form what it is that made him feel compelled to go inside that vehicle and search that vehicle. That's not just like, oh, I had a spider sense tingling saying that blah, 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 I needed to go in there, and etc. Those are the rules. Now, obviously, we know cops don't always follow the rules. I mean, we just talked for about an hour about some shit that cops not following fucking rules or whatever. So when I say this stuff, I'm speaking in terms of like how general it's supposed to be. You're going to obviously have rogue cops, you have rogue doctors, you have rogue teachers doing whatever the fuck it is that they want to do. So there are exceptions where people take the power that is invested to them by your government and they take it into their own hands and misuse that. For people that do that, it's like I ask why. Like, why are you bending the rules to fuck somebody over on weed or whatever? It's one thing if you think that this person has a body in their trunk and you need to, like, there's no way that you can prove it or whatever, but you know that there's a body in that trunk, then that's a completely different circumstance. But where we're seeing and we're hearing these incidents of officers misusing their power and violating this constitutional right or at least bending it, stretching it out to the extreme, is over petty shit like minor drug violations. Luckily in California, and a lot of times the example always gets brought up with like weed and marijuana. Oh, I smell weed and stuff like that. And that's something that is sort of kind of like you're just taking the officer's word for it. Oh, I don't smell it? Okay, well, whatever, you're not giving me consent, I'm going to get the dog out here. And then it's like, why are we wasting a traffic stop that could be 20 minutes and you're making it into an hour and a half if you can have a dog come out of here just so you can arrest somebody on a dime bag full of weed? Like, what's the purpose?
I can tell you why. Do you want to know? It's money.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's literally money. This is the problem that I have with the way that we police in America. In the vast majority of police departments is that if you arrest somebody for drugs or any other fucking crime, or you search and seizure them, first of all, the drugs go into your department. So, I mean, if you decide to resell it, which some cops do, I realize it's a small minority. It happens. But putting them in the system gets their PD paid more. If you seize money off somebody, like say if somebody has, a couple ounces of weed on them, you can easily say that, hey, this person is probably a drug dealer. Guess what? All the cash you have on them is now part of your department. And saying that, and it's also saying that, hey, we're getting more and more drug dealers, people doing drugs in my city. We need a bigger budget. This is how they inflate their budgets. It all comes down to money, man.
I can't justify what individual officers do for their own personal gain or whatever. That's
it's
something.
The PD gain.
That's something that they decide that's if they decide they want to put on the uniform to fight marijuana, then whatever. That's their own, whatever makes their dick get hard or whatever in the morning.
But you got to understand that literally they would get paid more to enforce these laws.
The officer doesn't
get paid more.
The officer doesn't get any money added onto his check or anything like that for
the PD does. Why do you think you have PDs having APCs and AR-15s and all these other fucking toys?
Well,
it's because they're getting federal grants from the government because they're enforcing these drug laws.
The money
you might want to research that.
Well, the money the money that comes from drug violations, it depends on what it is that the person's being charged with, but that money gets allocated to the state or the federal level. So if you're arrested on a federal crime, let's say, for example, you are selling DVDs illegally or whatever, like doing copyright DVDs, that's a federal crime. Whatever fines it, you're going to appear in federal court. And that court is going to take the money and that goes to federal court. When you pay
they're getting, I understand that they're getting federal grants from the U.S. government to add on to their budget by putting those people in federal prisons. This might be outside of like their.
Well, I'm saying I can't, and I don't want to get into general terms in terms of speaking for all officers, but I don't know very many officers that signed up for the job to be shillmen for the federal government. It's not like most of the officers that I know, they want to actually go out and solve like real crimes in terms of where people are actually being hurt. Now, there are examples, you can name examples, and we've seen plenty of examples of people that just do dumb stuff just for weed, marijuana stuff. But the personal satisfaction, I think, of actually solving a legit crime like a kidnapping or a domestic violence situation or a murder or child abuse, I think those you have more people doing those and fighting those crimes on personal reasons rather than just being like, I'm going to get more money for my department that's not going to be reflected on my paycheck, but it'll get more toys for the department that I'll never get to play with or whatever, and it'll make somebody else look good. That money doesn't trickle down.
Yeah, so listen, man. I think you need to like do a little bit of research, to be honest with you. I don't want to be a dick, but like if you look at the people that are in jail, look at what they're in jail for. Most people that are in jail and not in jail for violent crimes are pedophilia.
Okay.
They're in jail for minor drug crimes.
Okay.
They're not. So if what you just said was valid, then why aren't there more people in jail for the things that you're talking about rather than minor drug crimes or suspended license or not paying a ticket or shit like that? Like, what you said was valid, then we would have only violent criminals in jail and pedophiles and shit like that are major crimes. But meanwhile, the reality is that the vast majority of people that are in prison right now are not in prison for violent crimes.
Are we talking about in California, or are we talking about in other places?
Everywhere.
Well,
Everywhere.
in California, because of Prop 47, you weren't allowed to keep people like that in jail. That's why you had such an increase in terms of like people doing burglaries and everything like that, because you weren't able to keep them in jail. When they passed all
No,
these,
no. It's incorrect. They weren't allowed to put them in jail. People that were in jail for those crimes previously, they're still fucking there. They're still there. They didn't release them. Same thing with the cannabis laws. The vast majority of people that are in jail for cannabis violations, after they became locally legal, they're still in jail to this day.
Indeed.
are we talking about jail or prison?
You call it whatever you want,
Well,
jail or prison.
well,
they are still locked up in.
jail,
They're still locked up in a cage.
Jail and prison are two different things.
Okay, you can look up both. I'll put that on you. You can look up both.
I know the difference between jail and prison. I mean, they're two vastly different things.
Okay.
You can only go to jail for up to a year. Prison is something that you are sentenced and convicted for. That is something that falls on the court system.
Okay, jail and prison. I'll put it both ways. They're still in the entire system in both federal and local prisons. They're in there for non-violent crimes.
So I'm going to say this. First of all, I love this stuff. This is fascinating to me.
Educating.
Yeah, and it's really informative. In terms of just going back to the Fourth Amendment stuff and the search and seizure, whether they get satisfaction out of it or not, it sounds like you're both agreeing that this happens way too often in terms of petty excuses and really just a stretching of the truth when it comes to a reasonable seizure, a reasonable search and seizure.
I'm not saying that.
Oh, you're not saying they're never do that?
I'm saying it happens. I'm not going to say the majority of. I'm not denying that the existence of this happening. I'm not going to say that the majority of people are stretching the Fourth Amendment and doing illegal searches. I'm not saying that.
So for the drug-related ones, which we can get out the statistics that they seem to be a large amount of them. Do those fit into unreasonable searches in general for you, or are they in bounds? I guess
it's impossible to paint that with a broad brush because every traffic stop or every search is completely different. If an officer says, "Yeah, I saw a hypodermic needle cap on the ground in the floorboard of the person's vehicle for a hypodermic needle," then yeah, I have reasonable suspicion to have that person step out of his vehicle and search his car if he looks like he may be on high or his eyes are dilated, and I see a cap of a hypodermic needle on the ground. Yeah, I have probable cause there. But you do, and I'm not denying that there are officers, I'm sure, that say they smell weed when they don't smell weed. They just see that maybe the guy's eyes are red. And I mean, to me, that's not probable cause to have somebody exit the vehicle. But there are officers, I'm sure, that will say that, oh yeah, I saw this and, well, fuck it, I'll just write down I smelt it too. I'm not denying, and that's fucked up and it's wrong. It's very wrong and it's illegal. Not denying that, and I'm not denying that it does happen. I'm just not going to say the majority of officers do that shit.
Like I remember when I was younger, my older brother was picking me up from a summer program at Stanford I was doing, and we got pulled over, and we got taken out of the car, and the police searched. I'm not sure if the cop asked if he can search the car or not, or whatever, but the cop had us get out of the car, and we had to sit on the sidewalk while he searched the car just because we fit a description. I remember that like as clear as day. Is that the whole reason why we were pulled over and was told to get out of the car was because we fit a description of somebody who robbed the house earlier.
I'm gonna go so far as to say this, just to clarify my own position on this. I don't think in general it's very reasonable, unless we're talking about the circumstances Stitch brought up with whole, you're smelling a decaying body in the trunk and shit, to start searching vehicles based on whatever the fuck you feeling or smelling or thinking per se. I agree with traffic violations for safety in general. I don't think that has shit to do with someone's searching someone's property, which a vehicle is legally someone's property, um, based on the fact that it's moving property, and nothing really more than that. And I think that there has been an overreach, constitutionally, by the Supreme Court, based on it being a moving vehicle, and it sounds to me, I'm going to read the book all the way. I love the episode. It sounds to me like people over panicked in general 100 years ago because there were so many vehicles on the road, and wanting to capture bootleggers, trying to smuggle in moonshine, and therefore I need to be able to have the freedom to put on the lights with any car that looks fast and search it for moonshine.
Yeah, that was highly
Well,
fascinating.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
the problem is in America, we have a problem with vice crimes. When I say vice, it means that like you want to do drugs, it's a vice crime, but it's personal to you only. You're not really hurting anybody else. And America has this fascination with trying to make somebody else fit into like this weird thing where like you want them to be like you. What I'm talking about is, if I decide to get drunk every night at home, what the fuck did I do with you? Yeah, you don't want to get drunk every night at home? That's fine. But if I do, that's me. You know what I mean? If I want to get high every night at home, that's me. If I keep it inside my house, if I don't hurt anybody else but me, that should be my right to do so. The problem is that people think that, oh well, if they're drunk or high, what if they commit other crimes? Okay, well we have things called other crimes for that. If you decide to get drunk and assault somebody, assault covers you for that. You know what I mean? And they're still the police should be going out there to police those crimes. Me just wanting to change my reality to only myself should never be considered a crime. And it's fucking ridiculous that it is considered a crime. And I don't understand why we are still going on these really weird old laws about saying how you need to have like this pure life. Nobody lives a pure life. I don't give a shit the people that try to push back on these on drugs and shit like that, or being gay or any of these other things that have to do with somebody's personal life. They usually have deep rooted skeletons in the closet. Almost all of them do. It just takes a matter of time for people to figure it out. So just let people do. If there's consenting adults or a consenting person that wants to do whatever they want in their own time, in their own home, in their own space, why don't we allow them to do that? It shouldn't be considered illegal. And I don't know why we're spending any sort of tax money dollars on making these things illegal, throwing people in cages, and then forcing them to do manual labor. It's fucking bullshit. And it needs to stop. And when I say by, people are still forced today in prisons to do manual labor. If you read the 13th Amendment, that literally makes it legal. If you throw them in prison, they're pretty much considered a slave. And you can do whatever they want. Case in point, if you look at all these fires that are going on right now, I'm sure you'll hear stories about all the prison firefighters that are out there fighting fires. Do you know how much they get paid? Less than $6 a day.
Yep.
A day. Less than $6 a day. They're putting their lives on the line to stop your house from burning down, and they're getting paid less than $6 a day. That's fucking slavery.
And what's crazy
I'm
about that
sorry,
too?
We're allowing it.
I'm sorry. Can I add
That's in California.
Can I add one more quick point? Because I love the firefighter point, and I know we have your brother, my cousin, listening too. Once you get out, let's say you've served your sentence, you're not legally able to be a firefighter, even though you have all this training too. Sorry,
Exactly.
just wanted to add that.
No matter what you were in jail for, no matter what your felony was about, it doesn't fucking matter. And it's fucking nonsense. It's like, I don't understand how this is how fucked up America is. We're fine with slavery even on this level, and they're just like they use code words like criminal, thug, all this other bullshit. They're just saying. I mean, thug is really the new N word. I mean, it really is. And when you say criminal, like, people don't understand what a criminal actually is. You can be a criminal from just being fucking broke. I think it was something, I forget the book I was reading, but it was like 80% of people that plead guilty for any crime, they're just too broke to not plead to plead not guilty because they won't have any sort of representation to plead not guilty. They're being. This is what I actually want to talk to Stitch about when we're talking about Kamala Harris and her record about 1,900 people that got arrested, and you said that like only 46 of them went to jail. But the problem is that the vast majority of them had to plead guilty because they were fucking poor because they couldn't pay bail, and so they took the
Easy route.
They got labeled as a felon, and their lives are fucking ruined.
It's not
Are
good.
we?
You know what I mean? 'Cause
Are we?
they
Are we
decided to take the jail.
well, are we discounting then the quality of the public defender system for the city?
Yes, definitely. No, I'm not discounting it. It's basically non-existent.
Okay.
Have you seen their budget?
Well, that it's a difference in saying that they have no representation and then saying that they have poor representation. Because they're entitled to a public defender. I mean, that's what it is. Now, I don't know the quality of public defenders. I've never met with one. I don't know any personally, so I don't know. I mean, I've heard stories about them just being overloaded with cases and just it seems like they don't give a shit about the people that they're representing. I've heard that a bazillion times. I don't know if it's true or not because I don't know personally any public defenders or whatever, but that seems to be the overwhelming sentiment about having a public defender is like they just look at your name on a paper and that's all it is or whatever. So that's something that I think needs to be looked at among the court system in terms of you need to get more public defenders, better quality public defenders, so they have less of a caseload that they're handling, so they don't have just like 500 different clients and they don't really care. They're not invested in that and actually defending them personally. I don't know the full details on the public defender aspect of the criminal justice system.
So, Stitch, just guess. How much do you think the public defender budget is for the entirety of California right now?
And like I said, I don't know.
The proposed budget for this year was $3.5 million.
Jesus Christ! In a state of 40 million people.
$3.5 million.
Yeah.
How many people can you possibly hire for $3.5 million to represent all the people that are being taken into custody by the police?
So okay. So then, what do we propose that we do? Do we allocate more money to public defender system?
That'd be it. Well, get rid of the cash bail system. That'd be a start. That's where I would start. To be honest.
I got one.
But that.
I was just going to say, if you're looking for recommendations and suggestions, piggybacking on what we talked about with the whole, law enforcement and drug stuff, if you reform the way that we have this war on drugs completely, I think you're going to eliminate the need, and then you get to focus on some of the things that Stitch you mentioned, and I agree with you that improve officer morale and things that they are gung-ho about in terms of solving murders, solving rapes, solving pedophilia, that kind of stuff. I think that those are great things for public safety all the way around, and I think that you need to have more investment in that. I don't give a shit which cokehead in Beverly Hills is actually going into the bathroom for a bump,
Oh, shit. Hold on, real quick, as we're talking about this, I'm sorry. John Oakes is actually in the
Holy fuck, John!
That's pretty cool. Holy shit. Yeah,
Nice.
Okay.
That's really cool. Yeah. So
John is like, what is
Oakes
going on with
like-
these nerds?
Yeah, I thought, what the hell?
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. He used to be one of the heads at SVDR. He's a super fucking nerd. And meeting him years ago, like it was like kind of surreal because like he pulled all of us into this entire like world that we didn't really know existed. Well, I knew existed, but I didn't get like behind the scenes on that kind of stuff. Anyway, back to civil rights because he's a super civil rights guy right now. If you look at his Twitter feed, it's like all like civil rights stuff mostly, and it's like he's an amazing person. So thank you, John, for watching.
Shout out.
Anyway, back to these civil rights stuff. Yeah, I mean ending the drug war is always like one of my main things to do, and then the cash bail system. It needs to end. Like you cannot say that in America that you're innocent until proven guilty, but at the same time I have to pay bail to get out of jail. Like, what? How does that work? I mean, unless you have like concrete, like super concrete evidence that I really did some really bad shit, I should not have to pay to get out of incarceration to prove my innocence later on. Like it's insane to me.
Sometimes incredibly high amounts. Sorry, Blue. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, plus the whole Bell's bondman thing, like that shit, right on itself is ridiculous. Like if you had a $30,000 bill, like you have to pay 10% to a Bell's bondman to pay your bill, but you don't get that money back. But if you were able to afford to pay your bond, your bill or whatever, you get that back once you do show up to court. Like I don't think the prison system actually keep it. Like you actually get that money back. It's basically you're paying to prove that you'll be back later for your court date.
Look,
Yeah,
my
I'm not gonna.
OnlyFans
Oh God.
account where I'm
Yeah.
helicoptering my dick every Wednesday night for that PS5 does not have me ready to spend $30,000 at the drop of a hat. I'm sorry. Maybe
Yeah,
with my dick pic calendar. Sorry.
I'm not gonna beat the drum for the court system because that's a whole different bag of worms than what it is that I'm used to and what I have experience dealing with. I mean, that's a whole separate branch of the criminal justice system. It's just like how with the government you have your legislative, your judicial, and your executive branch. The criminal justice system has their own courts, corrections, and then your actual foot soldier. Well, foot soldier sounds bad, but your actual like police, the ones that are actually out there apprehending and enforcing laws. They operate separately of each other. Yeah, they do intervene with in certain aspects, but it's like the stuff that we are asking for in terms of like change that comes from like mayor, governors, and things of that nature, and that's something that pressure needs to be put on them. Yeah, the police chief is the easy person to like and got the Christmas lights on him. You can be like, yeah, you need to do things to change it, but there are people above that person's head that tells them how they want their city run, whether it's the city manager, the city council, the mayor, the governor, sheriff, or whatever. They're the ones that allocate the funds in terms of how things are what's it called not persecute prosecuted enforced in terms of like your laws. But to go to the Berkeley thing, the thing that I don't want to say I had issues with, but it just didn't seem well thought out was the whole how Berkeley was going to remove traffic enforcement from their, I guess, police officers.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were asking, well, like, okay, well, what are you going to have in place of it? She didn't have an answer. She just said, well, we're going to look at, how she put it, traffic design and everything. And traffic design to me speaks of like, it's like more traffic lights, stop signs, speed bumps and shit like that, which, yeah, I understand, like, if you have people speeding in like a school zone, yeah, we'll put some raised little speed bumps outside the school zone to stop kids from flooring it out of the high school parking lot. But that doesn't solve the issue in terms of like drunk driving or stolen vehicles or a whole litany of other problems where you have to have like actual authority to make somebody stop their vehicle, determine if you can exercise or use that Fourth Amendment right to search a vehicle. And that's something that regular citizens don't have. You can't just have an open sign up volunteer list for, hey, y'all want to be traffic enforcement? Like there's rules to it in terms of like regular citizens just can't do that. And when I was waiting for,
can become police. Hold on, regular citizens can become police officers, so why not?
you have to go to an academy, a post-certified academy,
Yeah,
take
I'm
hours.
sure they would as well.
That wasn't explained in the actual all it was said was we're just going to look at traffic design. It wasn't said like we're going to institute an entire sworn force just to have a traffic, which now if they had said that would be different, but they did not say that at all.
Yeah, so obviously you have to train people, right, on traffic laws and how to pull people over. So to me, it seemed kind of obvious that obviously you would need to train people on how to conduct themselves on pulling people over, shit like that. And when it came to like the whole traffic thing you're talking about, anybody in law enforcement right now, if you pulled somebody over 3,000 times on the same fucking street, would you ever suggest to anybody? There's no path for you to suggest that, hey, maybe the law here on this certain street needs to change because nobody on this street is obeying these laws. This is outside of like a school zone. Like say if you have like a 35 zone, like in the middle of fucking nowhere, and everybody's going fucking 55. Why wouldn't you do any research on maybe let's change it to 55 or put in speed bumps.
So I'm a little confused because when I listened to it today, I partially agree with Stitch because they didn't explicitly say what their solution was, but I could have sworn they said that the author that they talked to on the podcast had a solution in her book, and the mayor of Berkeley said we're looking at her solution. The author is a professor at some school on the East Coast, but they were saying like we're looking at. I could have sworn they said that they were looking at her solution. I could be wrong, but did anyone else catch that?
What was her solution?
They don't specify. That's the thing.
That's
why
my problem.
That's why I agree with you. But it doesn't seem like I guess they saw a solution, but it's not as if they had no solution.
Are you giving these people? Are you giving this traffic enforcement detail? Are they armed? Do you want them to carry guns?
I don't know.
The
I don't know
whole point was that-
I don't
no,
know what their solution was. I didn't read the book, but I'm
No.
saying.
I'm asking in general.
Yeah, they specifically said no, they were not going to be armed
So-
because you don't need somebody armed for everything.
You don't need someone armed to pull over a vehicle.
No.
No, you shouldn't.
That okay. And do you want them to have
Explain
powers?
your reasoning.
I mean, do you want them to have powers
Well,
of arrest?
Well, no, you just need to have the powers to write somebody a citation.
So
that's a traffic law.
So hypothetically, let's say Blue from traffic enforcement sees a car with a inspection sticker that is not valid or whatever. He pulls the car over. He walks up to the car without any sort of weapon or anything like that, and the person who's to determine if let's say, could the vehicle be stolen? Is that a possibility? Could the person?
They would have they should have the power to check that. Yes, they would obviously run. It would be the same way that you guys are running right now. If they saw it was stolen, then yeah, it would probably come up that it was stolen. Then it'd be a property crime, right?
So okay, so then you have Blue out there without a weapon, with a stolen vehicle, with a felon inside the car without a weapon, and he's going to make the person stay in that car. How? Or how is Blue supposed to protect his life if he's with somebody that's got a stolen vehicle in front of him?
So when you do a traffic stop, do you immediately pull out your gun and tell them to stay in their car and to get their registration and license?
No, but if I find out if it's stolen,
so why would
yes,
they need to?
Because if I find out it's stolen, or if the person has some sort of felony warrant or something, then yeah.
So if it's stolen, then it's a property crime, right? So if you think somebody's car is stolen, you would immediately pull out your firearm and walk up to the vehicle with your firearm out without verifying anything.
I wouldn't. I talked about this last week. I wouldn't go up to the vehicle. I would hold. I would make you stay there until I got other officers to arrive on scene. Because now I know.
Okay, so you wouldn't. So you're in the same boat as them. You could just call the police if you thought it was stolen.
I don't know who's driving the vehicle.
Okay, so neither do they. So they could just call the police then, right? This is an easy solution, man.
But you have a felon who now is just going to sit there from some.
You don't know he's no. See, this is the problem. Stop. No, stop. You don't know he's a felon. You don't know that at all. You have no clue.
If you're driving,
you're calling in backup, and they could do the same exact thing.
So just
if you have okay, I'm sorry. If you're driving a stolen vehicle, that is a felony.
No, you're assuming that you know that they're driving a stolen vehicle. This is the problem with your whole argument. You're assuming that they're driving a stolen vehicle.
No, stop. Don't even go Prodigy yet. Okay. How am I assuming
I didn't say that.
if I ran the plate or whatever it is and the vehicle says it's stolen, how am I assuming at that point? If I saw the vehicle move, I mean, he's in the driver's seat, right?
But did you ID the person? The vehicle is stolen, correct? No, you don't know that.
Yeah.
If I ran
the plate and the vehicle says it is stolen, is the vehicle not stolen?
You don't. No, you still don't know that until you know who the fuck is driving the car.
That's wrong.
No, it's not wrong. And this is how we get in the problems that we had literally last fucking week. It's because they didn't know. Because sometimes you don't know things. And if you want to feel safe, then yeah, you call for backup. But literally, the people that would be the new traffic, whatever you want to call them, could literally have a path to the same thing where, hey, we think this car is stolen. We're calling for backup. What would stop them from doing that?
Last week we
interject.
didn't know the vehicle.
I'm gonna
Last week
interject.
we didn't know the vehicle was stolen because they ran the plate wrong.
Hold on. I'm going to interject one quick thing. I'm not trying to stop you guys at all. Just for the listeners, the book in question and the person being interviewed, her name is Sarah Coseo, and the book is called, I'm going to read it. I'll even give it to any listener who wants to read it after me. Policing the Open World, How
Or
Care,
Open
or
Road.
how, yeah,
Open
Open
Road.
Worlds, Open World, how the car transformed American freedom. Sorry, go ahead.
So in your scenario, Stitch, you're assuming that the person committed the crime. That's the problem.
The person is driving a car that is stolen. I have a reasonable suspicion that that person stole the car.
But you're supposed to be innocent and proven guilty, right? You literally
I'm not
giving
the
the
courts.
person no chance.
I'm not the executioner.
That's the point. That's the point. Is that you're not the courts.
Right. Exactly. So you will go to court. Yeah, exactly. You will go to court. I don't see what's funny. This is scary that you guys actually don't understand what it is that I'm saying. You are not. It's not my job to determine if you are guilty by a court of law or innocent by a court of law. That is something for a judge to decide. But if you are behind the wheel of a proven stolen car and you are driving that stolen car,
it's not proven until you do an investigation.
Yeah.
So like, what the fuck? We're skipping this whole investigation part.
Well, you
need to do an investigation, right?
That's why you're placed under arrest.
So,
what, you can't investigate? But like, hey, listen, can I see your license registration? Wouldn't that be the basic part of your investigation?
No, because a felon would shoot you. Right? A felon would shoot you in your face if they knew they were.
You're assuming that it's a felon. Stop. You're assuming that it's a felon.
Pick up a penal code book. Is a stolen car a felony? Yes.
But you're assuming that it's a felon, but you don't actually fucking know. That's why you do an investigation.
Oh my god, I can't even right now. I can't. This is scary.
Let's go back to Berkeley. Berkeley has been known for decades and decades, and they talked about in this podcast episode. We're giving them a lot of love. That they have a history of thinking a little bit differently when it comes to law enforcement in general, and they possibly maybe. Considering experimenting with this, whether it's going to work, whether it's feasible, whether it leads to more problems is to be determined. I'm a little bit skeptical on that aspect of the I guess elevation of meter maids to put it in layman's terms. I don't know whether it's going to work. I think it's worthy of exploring, maybe on a small scale, and we'll see from there. But it may lead to some unforeseen circumstances that are actually more dangerous for the public. I'm not sure. So I'm not judging. I'm not taking a side on that at all. I am standing very firmly on the side of I don't like you saying, oh, I smell weed and doing whatever, or even searching cars for weed. Or drugs. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
One interesting about that podcast was that they mentioned how the whole reason why the police got involved in the first place was that people weren't following like the laws. Like they were like, how can we solve this problem? And they're like, we need somebody with some kind of power and authority to be able to enforce these new laws. These were all the whole car thing was all new laws, and people were following. People running red lights, running stop signs. Like there was Wild Wild West basically as far as driving cars, and like that's the whole reason why police, based off of this podcast, I haven't gone to research and find out if what the person was saying is true, but yeah, the whole reason for police being involved was mainly to enforce traffic laws.
True.
Yeah, I think that in general, for me, I think that law enforcement in general should be more focused on violent crimes rather than these other kinds of crimes that aren't really a huge deal. You know what I mean? Like I don't think drugs are a huge deal. I don't think unless you're like literally reckless driving, like going, hitting a car and like then driving off. And yeah, I mean, obviously that gets to a whole different sort of a law where you destroyed, you put somebody's life in danger and you drove off. And then yeah, in that aspect I get it. But when like most traffic violations, like if you just happen to like miss a stoplight or even that, I guess it depends on if there's traffic or not. So I get there's nuances here. But I think a lot of traffic crimes, they're not really a huge deal. Like me going 3 miles per hour with the speed limit, who am I endangering?
Yeah. And there's officer. They talk about the fact that there's a lot of officer discretion in those.
Yeah.
And I am not. I want to be real clear. I'm not saying that the overwhelming majority of officers don't know how to tell the difference between a murderer with a dead body that's literally in the back seat versus someone who's going 3 miles over the speed limit.
Well, if you
But-
if you kind of rewind the tape on like the whole polyclass situation, like
I was about
the
to say
guy-
that, yeah.
he had polyclass body in the back, and he got pulled over, and
Traffic
like
violation.
yeah, for a traffic violation, and like there was no suspicion for them to search a dude's car, and they just pretty much
Yep.
let him go.
Yep. There's again, none of us are constitutional law scholars. I want to do the reading of it. I thought it was an interesting topic because we've touched upon this before, and I'm glad everybody listened to the podcast. I'll pass the book around. We'll go from there.
Oh, we're gonna treat her like
Yeah.
a skinny white girl?
Wow. I was gonna
God.
say the
Damn.
one
There's
thing.
5 of us.
The one thing that stood out to me
You
from
got
the
it.
from the
I'm not sharing nobody.
damn.
Kronos, don't do the sloppy seconds.
No, I
Oh, oh, damn. Yeah, I will say what stood out to me is they talked about how an officer can create probable cause, and I was like, what the fuck? They're like, yeah, they
Well,
can
yeah.
like basically through questioning they can lead you on and then give themselves a wiggle room to create probable cause, which gives them a reason to search your car.
It's basically
Just
like
like-
if you
Yeah,
argue
this
with
is-
if you get pulled over and you argue with the cops, that give them probable cause to search your car.
That's
Well,
dirty.
and it's the problem with the way that our laws work is that people don't really seem to understand like what their actual rights are
Mhm.
when you get pulled over, when you have any interaction with a police officer. You don't have to answer any questions. If they can ask for basic information, you can give them that. But if they ask you any other questions, you do not have to answer that. And I think that most people don't really seem to understand that. And so, and some, fucked up law enforcement people, they will, ask a bunch of leading questions to get them to get consent into something that once you give consent to a police officer,
You're fucked.
like pretty much the jig is up. Like they're gonna do whatever the fuck they want, but you don't have to give them consent to shit. Like if somebody pulls you over and they say, can I search your car? You can just say no, unless they have unless they explain to you the probable cause. And even then, you can still say no. They can still do it, but you can still say no. So, and most people they don't understand the way that the Fifth Amendment was designed to work. And it's fucked up. I think that some police officers they prey upon people's ignorance, and they get like when it comes to like stop and frisk, even though it was legal in New York, that shit wasn't legal federally. So, but people didn't know that. Like you don't police officers do not have the right to indiscriminately pull if you're walking anywhere to just pull you aside and search your person. The Fourth Amendment covers that explicitly.
Correct.
So I don't understand. So like the way that New York got away with that shit is incredible to me, and that's not Rudy Giuliani. Was it Giuliani or?
I can't remember. It might have been Bloomberg.
I believe it was
Bloomberg.
both. It went on for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially when they saw the numbers where it's like, holy shit, we're fucking stopping a lot of black people. Like, holy shit, what's going on here? Like that should have been a red flag for anybody that was looking at the books, but they didn't give a shit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's highly fucked up and illegal, the whole stop and frisk thing. And it's a city taking advantage of a law and just using it as just any excuse to interact with the general public, which it was combated. It's highly illegal in my opinion, and people just took advantage of that shit.
It also is dangerous in terms of people's perception of law enforcement. If I'm a fifth grader and I've been pushed up against the wall 50 times, every semester, I don't have a great feeling of law enforcement. But what are we going to be able to switch to some nerd shit? Because we do have some nerd shit.
We need to talk about. And I will go to this nerd thing because I want to hear people's opinions on it. Is Batman trailer? Blue. What did you think? Look at you leaning forward. You've been waiting for this moment.
He has.
If you talk about vengeance.
Oh.
First of all, I didn't know that this whole DC fandom thing was fandom not fandom, it's fandom. I didn't know this thing was taking place like whatsoever. Like this wasn't on any kind of radar or anything on my scope. But apparently, this was like DC's version of Comic Con, basically. Or
Hey,
Mhm.
yep.
yeah, and so we got so many things that were presented and leaked and footage and trailers that we got, and it was great. I was dehydrated today from all the times I bust from it, but
Oh wow.
seriously,
Ski.
the one trailer we got a trailer for the Batman, which is the one with sparkly vampire dude.
Robert
What's it?
Pattinson.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson.
Batterson.
Patterson. Yeah, they're calling him Patterson. And I have to give credit. The trailer is cut very, very well. It looks good. Like him in the bat suit, like he looks badass in the bat suit. Him as like we get a scene of him kind of in Bruce Wayne cognito area mode. He looked kind of cool like that. But it's we've been roped it up before with trailers. Like if you go back to the movie Skyline, that movie looked
Oh
epic.
yeah.
Looked really good, and it was a horrible, horrible, horrible ass movie. So I'm still waiting for the movie to come out. But the trailer so far, it looked really good. People have been tearing it down. There's a bunch of fucking Easter eggs. So it looks like the main bad guy is gonna be the Riddler. We get like a bunch of Riddler things here and there. We got like question marks all over the place. We got like who's the Batman, this and that. But one of the cool scenes that I thought was pretty epic was that it's where the bad guy kind of walks up to Batman, and he just starts fucking welling on him, and it's funny because people are saying it's almost like a scene out of Arkham, like a little alert comes up that he's about to attack, and you start beating him up.
Mm.
But when somebody asks him like, "Who are you?" and in all the other Batman movies, this is a constant thing with Batman movies. When they ask you, "Who are you?" he always says, "I'm Batman," something like that. But this is the first time we ever got, "I'm Vengeance." Vengeance, yeah. Which was, I was like, whoa, like what the fuck? But what's kind of cool is that there's a scene from Batman the animated series where Batman he does the whole "I'm vengeance, I'm justice, I'm Batman" thing. So
Mhm.
hopefully we get to see this kind of, because this whole trailer looks like it's, or I think the director actually said too that this is Batman not year one, this is
I
Batman
think
year
year
two.
two.
Yeah, so he's kind of a little bit more seasoned with the whole Batman thing, but he's still kind of learning the ropes. But just for him, it's gonna go from vengeance to maybe the next Batman movie is gonna be more justice led, because this one's mainly we're gonna see him as a detective. This isn't like beat 'em up Batman. This is solving crime Batman, which is kind of
Oh
cool.
yeah.
And for them to have the Riddler there just kind of shows that that's how the whole detective scene is gonna work out for him. But overall, I thought the trailer was really well cut. I'm still my back's against the wall about if it's gonna be like an epic Batman movie, but it's got some potential. What are your guys' takes on it?
Oh, let me hear Old Ninja first because he hadn't gotten in here much.
Um, I guess I mean, I liked the trailer. I was a little surprised because I knew it was kind of coming, but I didn't expect as much as what we got from the trailer. I thought it was just really going to be a teaser, but we got like a full blown trailer, and I didn't recognize Colin Farrell because he's the Penguin, because he looks way different in this. He looks like a completely different person, and I guess there's some backlash about Jeffrey Wright, because Jeffrey Wright, who is a black male, is Commissioner Gordon in this, and I guess there's been some pushback about him being. But I mean, if you look at the history of Batman and Gotham's lore, they've been playing like racial flip flopping for decades, really. I mean, Eartha Kitt was black woman who played Catwoman. No one really had a problem. In fact, people loved her as much. Harvey Dent by Billy D. Williams back in '89 Batman. No one had really had a problem with that. Everyone's usually like, "Oh, Gordon's always been white." I'm like, well, we got Perry from the
Man of
Daily
Steel.
Planet,
Yeah.
who's Lawrence Fishburne. No one really fucking talk shit about that. They've just been doing it, back and forth. I don't really see an issue. Jeffrey Wright is a extremely accomplished actor. I'm actually looking forward to his performance. I actually think that he won't be useless. It's probably why he took the role, because he's probably going to help Batman solve these crimes. They're probably going to put their
Well,
heads together. So
they
I'm
also
looking forward to that.
they also talked about that there's going to be a Jim Gordon movie that's going to be coming out too, and
I would, hey,
he's gonna do that role of Jim Gordon in that as well. So we're
so
gonna see him all over
I
the place.
mean, Blue and I, we both watched the TV series Gotham, and literally Gotham focuses on Jim Gordon. It's literally Jim Gordon, Harvey Bullock, and like everybody else. And I mean, yeah, there's
Yeah,
the famous Gotham villains, but literally the focus is Jim Gordon. And if they do a film series focused on him, and if they have his like daughter trying to like come up and be Batgirl, so then they can spin her off as Batgirl, I say more hats off to DC if they do it right, if they can stick it. Hats off to them if they're able to like expand the DCEU and actually be cohesive and be competitive with the MCU. So
And I,
I think the fandom showed off that they got tired of being bullied, got tired of being memed, and decided to be like, all right, we're getting back to basics. We're gonna show you guys, the fans, that we mean business with what we got. We want you guys to come back and be on our side. And I think fandom kind of did that overall.
I said this in the past, because Jim Gordon's black, Batgirl's gonna be black.
Oh
You
yeah,
did.
of course.
You did. Kronos, get in there.
yeah. I mean, the trailer was cool. You know, I gotta be honest. This is super nitpicky, so don't fucking hate on me for this shit. Okay, I'm saying this, and I know it's nitpicky, but it's only me as like as a martial artist. Um, is having Batman with longer hair is weird to me.
Mm.
Like most people that do martial arts are getting into fights all the time. We cut our hair for a reason,
Makes
so people
sense.
don't grab it.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, but obviously he's wearing a
Yeah, he's wearing a
cowl.
cowl.
I get that, but it's also it's like more shit you got to put in the cowl. So I'm just like, what the fuck? Maybe he figures it out later on to cut your fucking hair. I don't fucking know. But to me, it was just like kind of
I
weird.
used to,
Other than that, go ahead.
it's year two Batman, so he hasn't gotten to that level where he starts cutting his hair back.
Yeah. So you know, I'm just saying it's a small bitch. Other than that, I thought the trailer was it was pretty good. Well, actually, another martial arts bitch that I had is like when he beat the guy's ass. I'm like, that took way too many hits. Like, either Batman should be way stronger, or he should be way more technical with his strikes when he's whooping that guy's ass to knock him out. But they're just like small bitches. I'm probably still gonna watch it. It still looked better than I thought it was gonna look. You know, Robert Pattinson. He looked okay enough in the role. I'm not going to bitch about that. Jeffrey Wright playing Jim Gordon. It's not a big deal to me. It's really not. Honestly, I think that it could probably work better because if he came from like the inner city of Gotham or like Bloodhaven or some shit like that. Because to me, those seem like ghettos. You know what I mean? And let's be honest, in America, a lot of ghettos are full of minorities. So it would make sense that a minority would come out of that area. And that's not saying that it's the fault of minorities. It's traditionally in America we're forced in those places, and if they talk about that shit, that'd be fucking amazing. You know, it'd be a cool way to kind of inject, you know, what's going on in America, even to this day, into Batman. I think that they also in Batman they do talk about some socio-economic issues a lot in Batman. So I'm not surprised at all. And it's not like, you know, Jim Gordon as a character, there was nothing about the character where he needed to be, you know, Caucasian. So
Oh, you know what?
He wasn't like the Black Panther.
Yeah.
He was from Wakanda in Africa. The guy's, he has to be black.
Yeah.
He's got to be of African descent.
And I'm,
you know, other character. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, to reinforce that, I'm the same way with Nightwing. Like, I don't think Nightwing doesn't necessarily have to be white. Like, I'm all on board if Steven Yeun is fucking Nightwing. If he's cast as Nightwing, I actually would be really ecstatic. So,
What?
Yeah, and there's. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I agree with you in principle, and I would have no problem with that casting, Old Ninja. The only thing, just to point out from a comic book lore perspective, they're not the Roma, formerly known as kind of like the Gypsies. Dick Grayson is ethnically supposed to be part of that,
Of the
Like
gypsies,
a
yeah,
gypsy?
because he's part of the
Yeah.
traveling gypsies. I
Yeah,
get
so
that.
Okay, well, yeah.
so and they don't get a ton of representation, quote unquote. There may be some backlash on that, but
They get Tyson Fury. That's about it.
yeah, exactly. So I don't have a problem with what you're saying. I'm just saying some people would like to see him truly represented from that ethnic group that has suffered quite a bit. If you
Hey,
know history.
we got an almost comic accurate version of Kate Kane, and people still complained.
Yeah, sorry,
As far as
Kronos. Sorry, you weren't done though, Kronos. Kronos,
yeah,
go
yeah.
No, people
Yeah, no, I
complain
mean,
because she was a horrible actress.
ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, but
the thing is, like, listen, just to be fair, there's certain characters in like comics and shit like that where it's like, listen, they don't have to be black either.
Mhm.
Like, unless like the core of their character has something to do with Africa or some sort of socioeconomic shit about being black in America or some other country. It's not a big deal if you change their ethnic background. But if there is some connection with that culture, then yeah, changing that ethnic group is kind of a big deal. But in this case, I don't really see it, so people just need to calm the fuck down about it. So we're just talking about just that one Batman
Yeah,
reveal.
Yeah.
well, we were starting with the Batman, and then we kind of spilled it into fandom in general. If you have other
Overall,
thoughts on
yeah.
fandom, then go ahead.
Well, I wanted to talk about something I didn't see coming, and it was the Gotham Knight. Was it Gotham
yeah,
Knights?
the
Mhm.
Gotham
Is that what it's
Knights.
called?
Oh boy,
Holy shit! Well, I watched it and I was like, first of all, this game looks like it's ready to fucking go.
Yeah.
Because not only they gave you a fucking trailer, they gave you goddamn gameplay on the same fucking day. I was like, thank you, you gave me my fucking dinner and dessert at the same goddamn time. I was happy with that shit. You know what I mean? It looks like an Arkham Knight game, but it's not connected to the Arkham Knight games. It's not made by Rocksteady.
Yep.
But it looks about the same as far as gameplay goes.
Yes.
You get to play as
Two
like
players.
5 different characters.
I
Huh?
said, and it's 2 players.
It's co-op,
Yeah,
yes, and you get to play as 5 different people so far from the Bat family, which seems pretty amazing. It looks like it's fairly large. What were you guys' thoughts on it? Because I was like, holy shit! Because I thought it was just gonna be Suicide Squad. That's from Rocksteady. I was looking forward to that one.
Let me tell you this. This Gotham Knights knocked my fucking socks off. I have been very pessimistic. I know you guys were lukewarm with some caveats on Avengers. This one knocked my fucking socks off so fucking hard. When they put out the Court of Owls fucking teaser in that shit, when I saw Red fucking Hood and Red Robin and Batgirl and Nightwing full grown, and then even at the beginning of the trailer, Bruce is just there's a report that Bruce is dead. Obviously, I don't buy it for a second. But even just the whole concept of Gotham moving on temporarily from Batman is an exciting fucking concept, because what are the criminals going to do? What's the rest of the DC universe going to do? And how are these heroes going to fucking step up? I can't fucking wait. This is one of the best game trailers I've seen literally all year, maybe even since in the last couple of years. Hard as fuck. I nutted.
One thing, when I was watching the gameplay and just hearing them talk about, like, every character has like their own like move set. So like Batgirl, she's kind of more like Batman, but she's still kind of got her own thing going on. But like I think it was Nightwing. I guess he can use like the Justice League space station thing, and he can teleport, which was fucking dope. I'm not sure if it was him or Red Robin, but one of them they can teleport. Like Red Hood, he uses guns, and like he's more like up front, like brutal with his attacks and stuff like that. Like every character has their own little fighting style, which I thought was cool. But the one problem I did have is I kind of didn't like. I mean, this is I guess it's me for playing. It's because I played all the Arkham games, but I don't like the cape flow on the characters. Like the capes are stiff. I had a problem with that. Like it was just like a piece of cardboard from their back. There's no flapping in the wind. There's no like using your cape as like a weapon and stuff like that. Like how all the Batman Arkham games stuff. Like you can't stun your opponent because like you do your cape over them. Like
that might change.
The cape physics was off, and I didn't like that.
How's the titty physics though?
Huh?
Did you see the titty physics? Were those good? I mean,
no, I didn't notice that. I was too busy looking at the cape.
No, that's what you need to pay attention to instead of the capes.
No,
titty
no.
physics more
the cape.
Stitch, get in here. What'd you think?
It looks really good. It looks really fun. I was never really the Batman like game player, but it does look really good. I mean, I appreciate great art and great gameplay when I see it, and it looks
Wait,
really
have you
awesome.
played the Batman games? Have you played them?
I played I forget if it was Arkham
Oh, you didn't like them. All
or
right.
City. I forget which one it is that I played, but I played a little bit of it. I think it might have been the second one because I got tired of messing around with the Batmobile. That was the
Oh, that's
It's like-
Arkham Knight.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I enjoyed it, but yeah, I can see how you didn't though.
I mean, it was fun,
Play
but
the
I was
first
just
one.
kind of like, it just wasn't really my thing. But I mean, it looks great. I like that it's not Batman focused, which I think is a really cool
Twist.
play on it and everything. I like how you have the other people to sort of that you can play as. To go back to the movie, I thought the movie thing was really cool with the vehicle. I was sitting on the vehicle, the Batmobile, prior, but when I saw the flames come out the back of it, I was like, okay, this looks much better. The movie looks more realistic than any of the other ones, and I'll even say even more than the Nolan films. The Nolan films, you have the Batmobile that's climbing up walls and turning into a trike, and from a tricycle, I mean, not a trike, but like a motorbike to a tank, and shooting out.
It was a real car though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's.
I mean, Jay Leno has one. He really does. He has the real fucking thing.
This one seems less comic booky. I mean, I mean, compared to Batman '89 to the Nolan one, obviously the Nolan one is more realistic than the '89 one. But I think this one just seems more grounded in like actual like physics of the world and everything. It looks like Batman's actually going to do some detective shit because he's dealing with the Riddler. Where my whole issue with Batman in I forget which Nolan film it was, but he was the dumbest idiot in the fucking movie. It just walks up in the fucking Bane's trap, Catwoman's breaking into his fucking house, and he just walks in, gets his ass whooped and shit like that. I was like, this is the stupidest Batman in my fucking life. This one, he's actually doing like some puzzle solving and some shit like that, which I thought was really cool. You saw people online on Twitter trying to figure out the little Zodiac killer type pattern with the word and the puzzle in terms of like what he's actually saying, which I thought is really cool, and I look forward to seeing those mental games. And it's good to see the Riddler done right. I mean, we've lived with the Jim Carrey Riddler for God knows how long, and at the time, yeah, we were fine with it because that's really all we had to go with. But it's good to see like a Riddler that's actually legit doing puzzle solving shit.
You should have in Gotham. The Riddler in Gotham was really good. Like
He was pretty good.
Yeah, he was very cunning with his riddles and stuff like that, and the fact that he worked for the GCPD before.
That was an interesting twist. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good, interesting twist.
Can I say this too? I don't know. This is all speculation, so don't hold me to this. But I got Hush vibes from whoever was in that fucking mask in the trailer.
Oh, the one that had the words written on it? That the tape mask?
Yeah, the tape kind of mask or whatever. That seemed to me like possibly an indication that Hush is in this motherfucker.
Maybe. We
I
never
don't know.
There could be a surprise. I mean, we've literally only seen Hush, as far as I know, on screen live action in Batwoman. He's the only one that I've seen where we actually see Hush for the first time.
Mm.
So,
well, Hush is in the recent DC animated movies. Hush is in it, and they did a twist with that by Hush being the Riddler. So Riddler's like dying from cancer, and he goes to the Lazarus pit to help him out, but it ends up making him go fucking crazy, and he decides to give up his riddling ways and become Hush to try to take out Batman. But if you read the comics, Hush is one of Bruce's childhood friends, pretty much one like Bruce. He even like killed his own parents, so he can get the same sympathy that Bruce was getting. And once he learned that Bruce was Batman, he started to take on the persona of Hush. And he actually went as far as getting plastic surgery to look like Bruce Wayne. Well, this is in the game. He takes on the face of Bruce Wayne and tries to blackmail him for stuff, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, live action wise, I've only seen him in Batwoman, and
Yeah.
literally they do something similar, but not exactly comic right. But he does try to. At least it's hinted that he's going to try to look like Bruce Wayne in the next season of Batwoman. So it could be interesting. Apparently, I mean, because there's people that are casted. If you look on IMDb, they're casted in the film, but they don't have like a title. There's like nothing under them. So there could be some surprises, and I hope there are. I hope there's some surprises in this film. Instead of like it being predictable, that'd be all bad.
Yeah.
So, but Gotham Knight, like we were talking about, I was like, this looks like this might be the one for me definitely to buy. This is what I thought Arkham City should have been. Arkham City should have been one person play Catwoman, the other person play Batman, and now we get a chance because I thought it was 4 players, but apparently it's only going to be a 2-player co-op, and you can play solo if you want. They tell you you have the option. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. It looks like it's going to be fun. It looks like you get crazy gadgets. They literally say they show you in the gameplay trailer or not trailer, the gameplay video that the characters play different. Like Robin can teleport because he can use the Watchtower technology. Batwoman plays a bit more like Batman. We don't see Red Hood, and we don't see how Nightwing plays, but I'm hoping they play
No,
vastly
you see
different.
Red Hood.
I'm excited.
You,
Well, we don't
you
see
did it.
him play in the gameplay like
I did.
Yeah.
Was I tripping?
I
in
did
the
too.
gameplay video.
I saw everybody. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought I saw him shooting shit.
yeah, you
Yeah.
see him shooting shit, but like the gameplay one, you actually see Batwoman and Batgirl and Robin play all the way up until they get to Mister Freeze, and they battle Mister Freeze.
Well, yeah, but they show cutscenes. Well, not cutscenes. They show like small clips of gameplay of the other characters as well. So I like that.
I'm gonna really quickly say because I didn't get my take on this for the Batman itself in terms of going back to the movie. I'm on board.
I got my money.
I'm right there with Blue. I was cautiously kind of on the fence with Patterson because I'm not a big fan of him, really based on the stereotype from, 15, 10, 12 years ago with the Twilight movies. But it looks like an interesting detective style emo Batman, and I want to see this fucking movie. I'm excited now.
Dude, you know what I loved when people were saying that when it first got announced and these naysayers are saying like how awesome an actor that Robert Pattinson was, and they were showing the picture of Robert Pattinson as the guy from Twilight and saying they're not hiring this actor, they're hiring this actor, and it was like 5 movies that nobody fucking saw. And I was just like, what the fuck are you even talking? Like, I know him as fucking Cedric Diggory, right? Goddamn Harry Potter. So, like, you pointing out these other movies that nobody fucking saw. If any of those movies made $100 million, I'd have been looking high. If they made $50 million, I'd have been highly surprised. He hasn't had
A breakout movie.
a real breakout movie yet since Twilight, and Twilight wasn't really a breakout. Well, I guess it was. It made money.
It made a lot of money.
All right, but
Yeah.
since,
All kinds of money.
Since Twilight, he hasn't done shit.
Yeah.
He made movies, but they weren't blockbusters.
Well, it's actually
It wasn't a Batman movie.
been in a lot of movies. But I saw one movie of his. I can't remember what it was, but it was awful. He had like a really bad accent.
They're forgettable.
Yeah, he had a really bad accent. He's supposed to play like some thug trying to find his brother who was arrested, who has like some kind of mental problems, and it was just like I just didn't like it. It was like, and then people were saying like this is one of his best movies, and I watched it. I was like, this is worse than Twilight.
To be fair,
People are dumb.
though, I will say this. I mean, and it's a cliche example, but Robert Downey was in the fucking toilet before that 08 Iron Man.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was like a total 80s has-been. And so we will see what we will see with him. And if you rewind the clock a whole lot, Heath Ledger, you can find freezing cold takes of people dissing Heath Ledger's Joker before 08, saying that he's a rom-com dude.
I mean, even Christian Bale when he got the role for Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like literally, he went from the Machinist, who nobody saw. I saw.
I saw the
Mhm.
movie.
He went from the
Fucked
Machinist to Batman,
Mhm.
and it's just like the Machinist is like it's dark as fuck. First of all, and he weighed like 45 fucking
up.
pounds, and he went from that to Batman. So it's like, Robert Pattinson could do a good job. I mean, he didn't look bad
Hmm.
in the trailer. He did not look bad by any stretch
No.
of any means. So
Do you want to hear?
you know,
Like, since we're just a little side note, since we're talking about like Patterson and Twilight and stuff like that, it's interesting. If do you guys know Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kid show?
yes,
That movie was
And
filmed
that's-
or came out 3 years before the first Twilight movies, and the kid who plays the shark kid or the shark kid who becomes a wolf guy
He's
in
in
Twilight,
Twilight.
yeah,
yeah.
he literally went from a skinny little tweak little kid to like a muscularly fucking teenager in 3 fucking years, which is crazy. So go and look it up, and like you can see how he was like this little scrawny kid, and all of a sudden he gained weight and pedal muscles and stuff like that. Like he definitely changed in that 3 years.
That's how I knew him too, because it was when my oldest daughter was a kid, so I watched that movie and I was like, oh, that's that kid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Shit, you wanted to
Old
get in.
Ninja. I was gonna say, Old Ninja, tell us what's going on with Fortnite versus Apple/Google.
Oh, wait. We don't want to stay
This
with
is-
we don't want to stay with fandom because that's just like part of the tip of the iceberg.
There's still more. Yeah.
But if we want to talk about it really quick, it's just so basically, Epic Games, the makers of Fortnite, they have like basically, you can buy stuff. You can buy V-Bucks. V-Bucks is in-game currency in the game where you can buy your skins and whatnot for the game. So if you're playing on iOS, an iOS phone, an Apple phone, iPhone, or an Android phone, you have to go through the store, the Apple Store or whatnot, to buy those V-Bucks. And Apple and Google, they get a percentage of that. Well, according to reports, the percentage of each sale is like really high. Apparently, it's like
I think
It's
30%.
like 30%.
it's like 30%. Yeah,
30%.
almost half, almost half. And so, what Epic decided
or
to
a
do?
third.
Well,
It's almost a third.
Yeah, math is not your strong suit.
What happened to
Oh,
him?
did we lose Old
Still there?
Ninja? He was doing such a bad summary that we
Still there?
lost him.
Yeah.
I'm coming back. I'm back.
There we go. All right. Yeah. So it's nearly a third.
Yeah, but
Hilarious.
still, it's still a lot. So,
He's arguing.
Yeah,
no,
Well,
I mean,
this
if
is
anyone's going to take a
obviously-
third of your money, are you going to be happy about that?
Yeah.
So what Epic decided to do is circumvent the Play Store and the Apple Store and be like, well, you can buy it from us directly. And then Apple and Google were like, well, you can't do that. So we're going to take your product out of our store. So basically, you cannot get Fortnite on your phone, basically. And now there's a dispute because now they're trying to sue. Apple and Google trying to sue Epic. Epic's trying to counter sue or whatnot, saying they had the legal rights, and there was nothing in their contract saying they couldn't do that. So it's kind of a battle for right now. You can't play Fortnite on your mobile device.
Well, you can't buy it, but real quickly, this is a big dick
This is
measuring
huge.
contest.
Oh, yeah.
This is horse dick measuring at its finest. This is not for the small dick energy. Epic also makes, as Kronos has mentioned a bunch of times, Unreal and the Unreal Engine, and
Overwatch.
well, no, that's Activision, but I think they might use the engine.
Oh,
right?
it is. Yeah.
So anyway, a whole bunch of games use Unreal Engine. Epic has in the gaming world a giant schlong, but Apple and Google, from just the entire tech world, have giant schlongs, and they have said, from their terms of agreement with anybody who sells on their store, this is the way we do business. And so to circumvent that and battle it and test it, holy fucking shit. Basically, Epic is saying, our game Fortnite is bigger than you. And I don't know if that's true. That's a big dick contest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let me break down things from like a PC gamer, because I think the rest of you guys really play PC games at all, right? So for the PC gaming aspect, Microsoft does not charge Epic or anybody else any extra fee to be on their platform. They definitely don't fucking charge them 30% for microtransactions.
Exactly.
And so this is traditionally the piece. This is traditionally the market for non-console games. Even with console games, I don't think Sony or Microsoft charges a 30% fee off of a microtransaction. To me, that seems like really stupid.
I don't know what their number is,
and
but they
really
might charge
excessive.
something. Sorry.
No, well, for PCs they don't charge.
No,
anything.
I was talking about for the consoles. I was talking about for the consoles.
Yeah, I don't think for the consoles they don't charge anything extra for the developer for some extra fee. Like to me, I believe that Apple and Android are totally in the wrong here. I don't know why they're charging these extra markups for shit that they didn't develop. They're allowing that to be on their platform, but people they're more willing to be on your platform depending on how much content that you have. And I think that's what they're missing. That's the reason why Apple will never be bigger than Microsoft, is because Apple has always tightened up who can be on their platform. And they have this really tight control that people don't like. And so they're trying to like expand this into other areas, and they're gonna continue to lose. I don't really understand how they don't seem to see that. Like, it just from a PC gaming standpoint, why are you trying to nickel and dime a developer off of everything that they made? You put $0 into the development, and they already had to pay to be on your platform, which Windows doesn't do at all.
But does Valve or does Steam?
Steam. Well, that's what I was going to get into. That.
Okay.
Steam and Epic sometimes do as well, but this is why I don't like either. I don't like when they do that either. It's like, listen, I don't give a shit about this whole like. It's easy to have shit in one place. I'm an old school PC gamer, but when I downloaded a game, it says on my fucking hard drive. I don't need to go through some fucking other goddamn portal to get to the game that I already bought. You know what I mean? And so if they went back to that model, I'd be fucking way happier. It's cool to see the Steam interface, don't get me wrong, and see all that shit. And for that, there should be like a one-time fee to get on the platform. It shouldn't be that I constantly get paid off of every single transaction past the point of you getting on my platform. It's fucking bullshit.
Boss, like, oh, sorry, your voice cut out. I thought you were done talking.
No, go ahead. No, I'm done. Go ahead.
It's kind of like a mob boss offering like protection, be like, yo, you need to pay your cut or whatever for protection in this neighborhood or whatever. But and they're charging 30%. But you know who they aren't doing that to? Amazon. They're not doing it. Exactly. They're not doing it to like Starbucks, other big businesses where you're on the App Store purchasing, but they're not going to Jeff Bezos and being like, yo, we're taking 30% of all transactions that are happening through the app. Like, that ain't happening.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
That's a great point.
No, even to the extreme point, Android goes so far as to allow Amazon to have their own app store inside their own store. And I don't think they charge them hardly anything for that shit. Like the whole Android store thing is literally inside of Android.
Like what Epic could do is they could just have the app on their site. Like you can download their app from their site and be able to access it that way. Like you don't need the Google Store to be able to do that.
You don't, but for the vast majority of people, it's inconvenient because you have to click on extra shit. Because like even with like when I just talked about the Amazon stuff, a lot of Amazon apps you have to like click on extra shit to get it to work on your phone. Now you don't, but you used to have to do that. You have to like say you have to do like unknown APKs in your phone or something. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah. If you're not a computer person, you're just like, what the fuck is this? You probably say no.
Yeah, and if you're gonna talk about the like user base about Fortnite, really quick.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say also, Fortnite put out that whole, was it a 1984 troll job commercial or whatever?
Oh, that's right.
Fortnite was ready. Fortnite was like, yo, this is going to happen. They're going to take us off the store, and then boom, drop the lawsuit paperwork ready for it because we about to go to war. And they did, and they were already out with the PR campaign with the commercial, and I mean with the event and stuff. So it was a very strategic move by Fortnite. Fortnite's going hunting for heads right now. I mean, they got the weight
Yeah,
to do
I
it.
mean, they have the power. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
It's
It's-
I
big dick.
honestly, I don't. To me, it's not enjoyable to play like games like that on a phone. I've done it before. I played Fortnite and the other one,
PUBG.
PUBG,
Mhm.
on my phone, and it's just not. They're not. It's not great for me to play.
Yeah.
I need a keyboard and mouse or controller, but yeah, I think that the power that Apple thinks they have is non-existent. They have a large stock price, but as far as their market shares go, this is the problem that I've always had with Apple. Apple has been number 2, 3, or 4. They've never been number 1 for anything, except for the iPhone
Mhm.
and and the iPod for a brief period of time. They no longer have the number 1 spot for the iPhone, and nobody buys an iPod anymore because the iPod doesn't really exist. So they have this weird spot in marketing right now where they have like a shitload of stock, but their actual products aren't really being bought.
Well, wouldn't you say?
So
I mean, I think the iPad is sold quite well, though.
yeah, but they're being outsold by the Android devices, by far. Like they're not number 1 in tablets. They're not.
I don't know.
Neither they're not number 1 in phones. They're not number 1 in home computers. Like I don't understand why
Are
they
we
have this
talking about
pompous
like
attitude.
sales? I mean, I'm not an Apple
Sales
person
wise,
in terms
yeah.
of like. I mean, I prefer Android, my Samsung and stuff like that. But I know that there are a lot of Apple fanboys.
Yeah, I'm a little
Oh,
sketchy
yeah.
on the a tablet one, but definitely on phones and home computers, they're nowhere near number 1. But I need to look at the tablet one because I didn't know. I didn't have that on the top of my head. But for certain, when it comes to like home computers, they are nowhere near number 1, and they never have been. Never. And with phones, they were number 1 for like a minute, but Android is crushing them right now.
Yeah, the iPad was popular back in the first quarter of 2014. That's when they saw the highest revenue stream. But then after that, their numbers went down dramatically. And as I'm looking at
Yeah.
what site is this? Statista. Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah,
iPad had never
like-
been like serious like that popular because it's overpriced.
Dude, the
Yeah,
last.
and people assume that it's number 1, but they're not. They just have good marketing.
So since 2014, Apple has been the second best mobile phone selling.
Yeah.
Number 1's been Samsung since 2014.
Yeah.
All the way up till literally Q1 and Q2 of 2020. Actually, no. Q1 and Q2 of 2020, they dropped to number 3.
And that's just with Samsung. But when you look at like Android as a whole, if you looked at OSs, like they're getting crushed.
Oh yeah.
Like crushed.
I can hear BlackBerry's
But they
making a
have like
comeback.
this. What's up?
I can hear that BlackBerry's making a comeback.
Yeah, they've
No,
been
they're
saying
not
that since
going to.
2015,
Yeah.
since Obama was in office.
Yeah, and it's even when when they announced the what was that first not the i product. Remember the first computer when they made a comeback, the crazy color computer.
iMac.
No, iMac?
The iMac, yeah, there we go. The iMac. When the iMac first came out, the iMac didn't thrust them into the number 1 spot for personal computers.
No.
They didn't. Wasn't even close. And the only reason why you have iMacs why you had iMacs back then, is because Bill Gates decided to invest in Apple. If Bill Gates didn't invest in Apple, you wouldn't even have an Apple right now. And I'm not on Bill Gates' dick or anything like that, but literally, you would not have an Apple right now if it wasn't for him. And they've always been form over function, and over time, most people realize that, and that's why they haven't really been selling that great. They sold great for a certain period of time, but they haven't innovated shit for years. Like I would say since Steve Jobs passed away, even before that, they didn't innovate shit. I remember when the fucking iPhone first came out, and people were like, they couldn't copy and paste things on their phone. I was like, are you fucking serious? How is how do you use this thing? Oh, well, it feels really cool to use. It's really responsive. I'm like, but you can't do basic functions. I'm like, yeah, but I like the interface. It's just like, but you can't do basic functions. Like, what the fuck? It's like you owning a car stereo and you couldn't click on the next track. Like,
or you
what the
couldn't
fuck?
turn like to a different station. You're stuck.
Yeah.
So,
It's so
so
stupid.
who do y'all think is gonna win this? That's what I'm trying to make sure I'm on the same page.
When
Or-
what? The mobile phone?
I think it'll.
Well-
Yeah, I think it'll probably be Epic.
Oh, yeah, Epic for sure. I think
I
Epic's
think
gonna
it'll get.
win.
I think it'll get settled, and I don't think it'll come to actual a verdict or whatever, because then that has potential to completely change the game in terms of like making case law and what it is that they can actually charge people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll actually.
I think it'll get settled in their favor.
Can I say this though? I will say, even though Epic has a huge swung in terms of their boldness with this, they are hurting themselves too. I mean, it's not, again, it's both Android and Apple saying you cannot buy Fortnite, and I believe, don't quote me, but I believe the other Epic entities are not being sold on Apple or Android products either. I think it's
probably not.
Yeah, I think I think it's a lot. Now, in terms of your growth, and you talk about your revenue and your forecasting for the next quarter or next year, if you're not able to sell on either one of those big two, that's risky. So
it is risky. I will say that, but I think if this goes to court, then this could get ugly. And if at any point Apple or Google will see that they could lose the case, they will. I think Stitch could be right. They'll end up settling at a court. They'll end up dropping their fees and then putting back on the platform. Because
if it goes to court and a settlement happens, then it breaks their entire marketplace, which hurts Apple and Google more than it hurts Fortnite. Fortnite, in theory, can take this like temporary loss for the greater good of, let's say, even they cut their percentage down from 30% that they have to pay out to 15%. That's a huge fucking win for them. Where it's like Apple, they lose everything or whatever if they end up letting this go to court, case law is made, and saying, yo, you guys can't take off the top anymore. Then they lose a way more revenue than Fortnite and Epic would.
Yeah, I don't see how this is going to end well for Apple and Android, because they're asking for too much as far as I'm concerned. Epic is already paying them a fee to get their product on their platform, and they're asking them, after they're giving them that fee, to give them an extra fee on top of that, 30% on top of all microtransactions, and that's fucking bullshit.
And
that is insane to me.
Epic has their own store.
Legal.
They do.
Yeah, and don't get me, and the Epic store has their problems too, but they're not charging these sorts of rates for, like, I don't think the Epic store is charging for microtransactions on a product that is on their platform, and that's the main problem. It's like, it doesn't make any sense to me how they would think that should be legal.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because they put literally zero effort into the code that goes into the game. They're not giving the APK, but the actual code that's being written and the enjoyment of the people that are using that has nothing to do with them. So you don't deserve any of that shit.
Can I get into some awesome tea that needs to be spilled? We all learned that your boy Jerry Falwell Jr. loves himself some bisexual cuckoldry. This was all over the internet.
So who the hell is this dude? Who the hell is this dude? Why is he important?
He is he's Jerry Falwell Jr., so the son of Jerry Falwell, huge religious figure, the, I think, president or senior level administrator for Liberty University, a private private religious school, a very large one, huge Trump donor, very prominent figure in the religious conservative movement in general. And he's also been someone who's been very outright against the LGBT community. I think that's fair to say. I think he would even admit that. And he and his wife, and again, it feels like it's nobody's business, but the pool boy spilled that tea. He and his wife, both it seems, and some other business partners like to get fucked by said pool boy, and he resigned from his post at the at this university, and this is the biggest thing in all of cuckoldry. What do y'all think?
I mean, if you, well, what is it? What is it that Ella Darling just said? If you feel like you need to suck a dick, then suck a dick. So if you're gonna do that, but don't try to come after, you know, everybody else because you want to suck a dick, and then try to shame other people for sucking dicks. What the fuck? So I mean, if you
He
go
runs
be
Bigot U.
he wants what?
He runs like Bigot University, pretty
Well,
much.
Yep.
well then, I mean, you got caught. You got. So own up and just know that, you know, cuckolding is, I guess, reached the executive branch or whatever, or or wherever the hell these people are. I guess religious hierarchy. You know.
Essentially, I mean, Liberty University is a big university for the evangelistic, heavy conservative Christian population. I believe it's in like Lynchburg, Virginia. But
Lynch, right? All right.
they, yeah, message do have a lot of, I guess, political weight in terms of like what they say and what it is that they, I guess how big they believe their dick is and everything. I mean,
Well,
even
you know how big it
when
was
the
'cause it's in his
whole
mouth.
I missed that.
I said he knew how big the dick measuring contest was because the dick was in his mouth, probably.
Oh,
Just
damn.
saying.
Yeah,
Damn.
I mean, his university was literally the first one to open in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, saying, "Oh yeah, we gonna have kids here." This is like back in like April, like May or whatever. He's off the wall with like his ridiculousness and his he's a huge obviously Trump supporter and they have so many problematic things going on there in terms of they act completely holier than thou in terms of especially against like anti-LGBTQ laws and perception and just imagery. So for him to be caught up in this whole craziness of going against pure Christian values as that entire university likes to preach and promote and demonize others for not being a part of the entire the head president, dean, or whatever the fuck position he is officially at that university. For him to be caught up in this is just like, oh wow, hypocrisy.
No, it's to me this is expected behavior. All right. Most of these crazy motherfuckers that are all against like some certain marginalized group and they're always preaching hate against them. I'm always skeptical of like, hey, especially when it comes to like any sort of sexual orientation. I'm like, you're probably that sexual orientation and you're embarrassed about it because the way you're brought up taught you to be embarrassed about it. When you could have just came clean the whole time. You know what I mean? And just been honest with yourself and others around you, and you would have been accepted. Instead, you decided to, um, you know, preach hate and really go after these people that are just like you because you hate part of yourself instead of accepting part of yourself. So I think that's a huge problem that most of these people don't really seem to understand. So anytime that any of this shit comes out, I'm not surprised at all. This is why I'm not ever going to go against like somebody that is gay or has like some weird fetish unless it's non-consenting fetish. That's where I draw the line. Is where if somebody cannot consent about, you know, whatever kind of sexual act they want to commit, then yeah, that's where I draw the line. But anything other than that, if you're consenting adults, why the fuck do you give a shit about what they're doing in their life? Like that has nothing to do with you. If you're enjoying yourself, I don't really give a shit. Um, And all these clowns, they keep getting caught with the same nonsense, preaching against, homosexuality or, adulterism and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, their life is full of adultery and all these sorts of acts that they would consider vile because they're trying to cover it up because they're appealing to a base that they know will accept them for being who they think they are, but they're really not, and they're not being honest. Yeah, it needs to stop, and stop believing somebody that you believe is totally holier than thou. I can guarantee you that they're not. People are fallible. All right, if Joel Osteen had a video of him sucking a dick, I wouldn't be surprised. Seriously, wouldn't be surprised at all. So I'll leave it at that. Don't be holier than thou. Don't even attempt it.
Skate. Holy shit, y'all. Do we want to wrap? Do we want to do the B's and B's?
Yeah, we didn't cover most of the fucking.
I know.
The rest of
There's always going to be more stuff, though.
That's fine.
I mean, if we don't have any B's and B's, let's kind of wrap it. Do we have any? I'm asking.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
There was something I want to talk about. It was a TV show that I was watching.
Oh, go ahead. Lovecraft?
No, go ahead. Yeah, we didn't talk about Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that before before we break. Sorry.
Yeah, so Lovecraft Country, episode 2. It wasn't as good as episode 1, but I still enjoyed it. However, there was a huge there was a plot hole problem in the very beginning of the show, which was weird. That never got resolved. There was other shit that got resolved that was weird in the show. This episode was kind of confusing for probably most people because it has to do with reality being kind of twisted, which is kind of weird. But once they eventually kind of resolved all that, it made sense. But still, there's a problem in the beginning of the show of how they got to a certain place so quickly and how they couldn't get back to the same point in any sort of reasonable manner was very strange to me. When they left the mansion and they went somewhere and they couldn't get you see when they got there immediately and they had to walk back through the woods and it took fucking forever, and I was just like, what the fuck? There's the continuity here is really bad. Did y'all notice that?
Are you talking about Silo? When they left the mansion and then they went to see the person with the dogs and shit like that.
Yeah.
The chick with the dogs.
I had the same thing. I had to rewind my. I was like, did I completely black out on something? How did we get here all of a sudden? And I was like, I feel like I missed a good 2 minutes of how the fuck they ended up there, because they leave the dinner and all of a sudden they're running down some stairs in the barn or whatever. I was like, whoa! I was like, what? Why are we here? How did we get here? And so I was really confused on that, and I was just like, okay, that seems like I'm missing something, or it was just edited wrong or something. So that I was really confused on that. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, especially when they were it took them so long. They had to go through a whole scene to get back, and that's where shit happened.
Yep.
And I was just like, why is it taking them so long to get back to where they just literally fucking were? And so I hope that they don't have. This is to me, this is a Zack Snyder level continuity hole, where I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? Why are they there? And then they can't get back for some reason. It just seemed really odd. But other than that, all right. I enjoyed the rest of the episode. It was just that part was really strange.
I'm gonna say this. I love this episode. Obviously, they had some big reveals. We learn about Letty. We learn about Tick's family. We learn. I mean, there's some spoil. I think it's been 2 weeks, so yes, there's going to be some spoilers in here.
It's been a few days.
Yeah, a couple days.
Yeah, but I mean, the show started airing 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
so.
but the latest episode was on Sunday.
Yeah, it's just 48-hour rule.
Okay. You learn that basically Tick's father is not perhaps who he thinks it is, and you see Tick's mama getting down with Tick's uncle as the love of his life, basically, in a flashback. I thought that was amazing, and I thought that Uncle George, I think is his name, basically was just like, hey, I can't remember his exact quote. It was so poetic, but he was just like, we don't let them see us stressing or crying over this. That's how they win. We're going to get through this. We're stronger than this. We're better than this. And then you actually have slave ancestors, leading Tick through hell, basically. There's a lot going on in this, man. I enjoyed quite a bit that was going on. Go ahead, old ninja.
Yeah, like Connor said, it is kind of confusing because they play. It's like you're in a house of like horrors, pretty much, and like they kind of figured it out pretty quick. If that were me, I'd have been like, either someone slipped me a roofie, or I'm sick or something, because this is all bad. Unless you're Letty, because like Letty almost took Serpent Dick to the face, so something's bad there. Because I was kind of all bad. But then like you see this weird there's this weird Adam and Eve storyline thing, but then it turns out that like Tick is a descendant of a slave owner from like the 1870s or whatnot, and he may have like some latent power, perhaps. It was like craziness, and then we get to see Tick's dad. Now, I figured his reveal would have been a little bit different, but he like comes out of the ground, and I was like, shouldn't he been out of the ground like a week or so ago? Because they've been looking for him, but it was kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
But still,
I didn't know how they knew he was going to pop
pop up right at that
or
spot.
whatever. It was like I was really confused on that, and something that's bothering me is like the uncle, his like Negro spider sense is bad or whatever. Like he's just constantly doing like some dumb shit or whatever from someone that is supposed to be very wise to everything that's going on like around him. Like, I mean, even with the first episode, what's that?
I said they need skeptical Negro.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
From Stranger Things.
He's not like some teenage kid where it's like, all right, maybe he doesn't know. Like he's an old wise head dude or whatever that publishes books on things on like safe passage for blackers and shit.
Oh.
And so in the first episode, he's just completely whatever stupid to the whole like, hey, we might be in some danger here or whatever because all these other clues are saying, yeah, this ain't right or whatever. And Tick has more sense of everything going on around him than he does. And then in this episode, like even during the dinner, he's acting like all entitled and shit and just like standing up causing a scene in this rich white person's mansion or whatever. I'm just like, yo, chill the fuck out. Like you may be right or whatever by thinking that, all right, yeah, we're blood in here, but like you're just a little bit too strong about it where it's just like,
Okay.
It didn't make sense to me. And then also when it's like, all right, we need to get the fuck out of here, so we're just gonna drive off in the middle of the night from this mansion. Remember the last time you drove in the middle of the night? How that fucking turned out? Like, so why are we doing it again?
Okay, so this part, Stitch, is where like, so I thought about it too as well, but in the end of the episode, it's where there was at least some level of like memory manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's why that happened because they made them forget key issues that happened like just days ago. Like because remember when they were talking to him and they were just like, that didn't happen. Why are we here? Like what's going on? But only Tick knew what was really going on because the other ones basically got some sort of mind wipe towards certain things. So I think that he forgot on purpose. And then remember like at the end when they made him get the memories back and they started screaming because they're like, holy shit, all that shit fucking happened. Because they forgot about everything.
I thought he got it back, but I might be wrong on that. I thought he had it back before he decided to storm off.
No.
I could be wrong. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't get the memories back until I think it was a chick? Was it a woman?
No,
that
Tick.
gave them
Yeah,
back?
the daughter. What's?
Yeah.
I don't even know his
Forget her
name.
name.
Basically, Tony Goodwin's character. I forgot what he was called, but it doesn't matter though, at this point. But still, it was just it was just craziness.
Yeah, and then that whole spiritual like seance shit thing that was really weird. Like the whole house is fucked up now, the fuck up. I'm just like, okay, where are we going here now? So normally I don't like to watch the preview for the next episode, but I was like, I really want to because like I was just unfortunately turned off by a lot of shit that went on in this episode.
That's fair.
I got you.
I enjoyed it, but that's all right.
Yeah, I had to. I have to go with kind of like because I've discussed like Cthulhu before with the Oathbreaker like a while ago, and I have to remember like what Lovecraft wrote about was a lot about madness and like just craziness and creatures. So I was like, I have to remember that this show is not supposed to be based on reality, even though it takes elements from our history. There's still going to be craziness involved in the show. So I have to remember that's going to be in there, that we're going to be kind of fucked with narratively in the show. So I'm like, okay, I got to remember Lovecraft's writing was weird. So the show is along that same lines. So be prepared for more weirdness. So
Oh yeah.
was what I'm expecting. I'm expecting more fucking weird shit to happen. So
I just love the fact that Omar from The Wire is still fucking with HBO.
Yeah. Saw it too.
All right.
I was surprised to see him too. I was like, is that him?
Yeah, Omar
him.
coming.
Please, dude.
Oh man. All right. I'm gonna wrap. Let's wrap it on up. Blue, what you got populating this week?
Oh shit. Well, first of all, yesterday was the Sweetness and I anniversary, our 3-year anniversary. So
Hey.
for the whole COVID
Congratulations.
Damn,
thing,
3.
Already
we
3
made
years.
it 3.
Yeah.
Fucking the best wedding I've ever been to happened 3 years ago. But because of the whole COVID thing, like we didn't really do much. You know, a lot of places aren't really open, so we did like take out and ate at home. I did start my new job this week, so I'm like in kind of training mode, trying to figure out how everything works, and it's kind of hard to train with somebody when you're just doing a video conference and you don't really get to like ask too many questions, and there's like lagging on the video conferences, and like you're constantly asking like, hey, what did you say? Can you repeat yourself? Because things aren't working right. But there's some cool company perks. Like I got a Facebook portal, which is like this tablet video chatting thing right here, which is kind of cool. But this weekend, I don't think I got much going on. Just getting used to the new job, and actually, I got a. Hopefully, it's gonna happen. But I got a photo shoot I'm doing this weekend with my friend from Cisco. You guys met her. I did her photo shoot at that Silicon Valley Comic Con. She was Spider Gwen or
Oh yeah.
Spider Gwen Venom or
Dude.
something like that.
You know what's hilarious
Yeah.
is that she works at the same company as K-Mac.
Yeah, she does. I remember that.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a photo shoot. I'm doing a photo shoot with her, and she's like big into cosplay now. Like the stuff, like her collection is up there. But she's revealing a new cosplay of hers, and she's allowed me to be the photographer for this. But this has been planned for the last couple of weeks. Like we were supposed to do it last week, but then we had the thunderstorms and everything was crazy. And the following week after that, we had the forest fire, so the air quality hasn't been great. So it's been kind of a challenge to kind of get together and do this photo shoot. But hopefully it goes down this weekend. So I'm kind of looking forward to that because it's been a while since I've been behind the camera.
Good shit. Cronus, what you got?
What's going on? So, if y'all are curious, the Infinity Base is basically done.
Hey.
As far as like me being able to
Hey.
move into, so or us, but basically now it's just me moving into it. I can move into it. I just need to like basically right now, I'm just moving shit out so I can move in. So I feel like this weird like dance where I have to like move shit out of the Infinity Base or into a corner and then move my shit that's right where I'm sitting right now into the Infinity Base and a bunch of other shit, and then putting the stuff that was in the Infinity Base right now back in the garage. So it's like this whole weird dance I got to do, but it's done. I did the network drop last week. The network, the Wi-Fi is already up. It's ready to be plugged into and all that shit. I just gotta clean and just move shit around, and then hopefully next week I'll be moved in. If not next week, then I'm gonna take a couple days off of work just to make sure that I can actually move everything in there, and then I'll be moved in. So, top max 2 weeks that I'm in that fucking building.
This is
Alright,
huge.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. 'Cause it's been a long time coming, but it's all done. It's got electricity. It's got fucking network. It's got a floor. It's got everything I need to move in. So I've got literally no fucking excuse. Everything else that I have to do with it is ancillary.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't fuck like it'll get done after I move in. But yeah, I need to get the fuck out of this garage. And then once I get out of the garage, you will get at least more content from me, at least. So I'll be able to like talk about stuff in a non-embarrassing background. With like my refrigerator and my garage door wall and like my washer and dryer in the background. Actually, and right now in the Infinity Base, here I'll give a quick preview of like what it looks like in my garage right now. This is looking to because nobody gets to see this, but this is how it looks right now.
Oh.
See all that shit that's all fucked up? Yeah, it's real bad because I have no fucking space to put anything. These are all comics and video games and shit like that that I need to fucking put in a spot, but I have nowhere to fucking put it. I have nowhere to fucking put it. So once I move into the Infinity Base, it'll all get put in there. So yeah, that's and I'm not gonna point to the other side of the garage because it's even more fucked up. There's like 2 motorcycles, a Peloton, and boxes and comics. So yeah, look forward to the podcast kind of leveling up after we get to move into the new location. So that's all I got.
Can I jump
Stitch,
in real
what-
quick before you
No.
switch gears? So my friend who I'm photographing, her Instagram, if you want to check her out, is fabulously.nerdy on Instagram. So check her out. You can see some of the pictures I've done. She definitely tagged me in them. But yeah, definitely go and check her out.
Good shit. Stitch, what you got?
Well, it was really encouraging to see like the weather cleared up today. Like I went outside because I just had to like bring the recyclable can in or something like that. Oh wow, it can be. So that part was really pleasantly surprising. So if it's okay tomorrow, maybe I might try to barbecue something. I was thinking about doing like one of those like those drunken chickens where you like put the beer can inside the chicken and everything. Because I've had them before, but people that I always cooked it or had it cooked for me put like a Bud Light or a Coors Light in it, and I'm just like, I'm getting no fucking flavor from that or whatever. So it's like you're just adding moisture, but it's just kind of like what the
Yeah.
fuck. So I might try to do that depending if the weather is permitting tomorrow to constantly expand my cooking whatever vocabulary arsenal.
Should
And then other than that, just
the
point-
beer.
Oh geez, I never thought about that. That would be
Bourbon.
it'd be interesting, but also probably expensive if that amount of whiskey. Yeah.
No, no,
That might be
dilute it
interesting.
in the beer. No. So
Oh, dilute in the beer. Okay.
Before you catch shit on fire, definitely dilute the whiskey in the beer.
He's
Or you're gonna
all-
have a fire explosion. Yeah.
He's all before you
But yeah,
start another fire. Holy shit.
No, well, try and do it like a decent stout with some whiskey added into it. That way you can like taste it. So
Yeah.
something barrel aged.
So that would be pretty good.
Sounds
Other
good
than that,
idea.
I
Shredded pork again one day.
What? Say again?
Your pulled pork that you used to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Good.
Yeah, well, I mean, next time we do when we get together after the Rona, we'll do an ethnic food night or just like a whole party and we'll get together again.
Man, epic.
I miss all of you.
Epic food night was so epic.
yeah, I might I saw that what's it called? Birds of Prey was on I guess HBO Max, so I might watch that just to
Oh God.
watch
Oh,
that
God.
train wreck. Yeah, since it's
I mean,
free,
if
I might just watch it just to see.
I mean, if you have nothing else to do and like you organize your sock drawer and clip your toenails and whatnot, I guess it's worth like a sit down.
Yeah, so that's about all I got going on.
Oh, Ninja, what you got?
So, I actually started some online classes. So I'm doing an online class. I'm doing Udacity, doing some stuff to like get my programming skills
Not
back
cool.
up to snuff.
You trying to program for OnlyFans? Why don't you quit lying, man?
If Bella Thorne can make $1 million in 24 hours, I'm trying to get that 30% like Apple and Google. that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to play some of these games. I've been playing some Gears 5 with some friends. Getting back into finishing some of these games. I have a huge backlog. I'm actually trying to pick up a copy of Ghost of Tsushima, but it's been sold out from where I've been at. So I gotta wait. Either order it or wait a couple days, either one. But I've been.
You know what's funny is I was gonna say you can borrow mine, but there's a new fucking DLC that's gonna
Yeah, that's why I'm buying it, because
enabling
the
multiplayer.
DLC's
So I'm
coming.
like, nah, fuck that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
Get
it
the
because the
co-op
DLC's
on it.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna get it. I want to beat it before the DLC drops, and then Control's got literally DLC I think today. So I'm trying to finish that and play I guess you can buy the bundle of their DLC. So I'm gonna try to get that. Other than that, just waiting for Lovecraft Country, gaming. Yeah, that's it.
You know what I got? They dropped a trailer and they have an actual release date for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. That looks fucking exciting. Playing a whole shit ton of Dying Light with a whole squad, which has been really good. And they actually have new DLC on a 5-year-old game. And then the big news for me on a personal level is looks like we got some offers from our house. So I'll be doing some moving during the Rona. Fuck every human being on this planet that decides to piss or shit in a home where they are actually just doing a walkthrough. Fuck all of y'all. You're nasty. You're stank. Go to hell.
You a
God
hypocrite.
dang.
So we're going to Canada, right? We're coming to Canada with them. That's what we're moving to. I'm saying, Chilliwack, British Columbia. I'm fucking coming eventually.
Dude,
in the next 5 years or so, probably less than that.
Yeah, give me some years. Let me see what I can do with this move. But I'm really excited about it. My kids are fucking jumping off the wall.
I want to say it was really cool for us to get together and let our kids talk on Hangouts the other day. For those that are really struggling mentally and shit like that in terms of just being secluded and away from friends, it's probably a good old group FaceTime helps and everything, just for your mental sanity. You don't even have to, especially if you have kids and everything. I mean, my kid doesn't talk or anything, so it was more for your guys' sanity than my daughter. But I'm sure for those that are going through some crazy shit, just being cooped up in the house with kids and everything, being able to do a group chat or just FaceTime somebody, it definitely helps for the mental health of the parents, and I'm sure the kid as well.
Real quick, one quick thing. The thing that's fucked up, I got 2 school-age kids. This is a form of fucking torture with this remote learning in some ways. Not that I'm against it, but not being able to imagine being a 5th grader and not being able to actually see your friends. The whole reason why you actually enjoy school for the most part is being able to interact with your fucking friends and tell your jokes and shit. You don't go to learn fucking history and civics. You want to see your fucking friends. That's hard, and I cringe for the kids that are kind of having to deal with it. It sucks. Go ahead.
No, you know what? I'm gonna keep it 100 for everybody right now. What I cringe for is that obviously me, everybody on this podcast that has kids. Well, actually, school age kids is pretty much just me and Prodigy. The problem that I have is that both of us we have affluent kids. All right, so we can afford to have distance learning. The problem is here in America is that there are kids that don't. I knew this before. They started talking about starting school again with remote learning. I'm like, how the fuck are poor people going to do remote learning?
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to do that? You're assuming that everybody in America has fucking Wi-Fi. They don't. I saw a story today with kids literally sitting in a parking lot of a Taco Bell.
Damn.
And had to ask for the Wi-Fi password from the employee.
Shit.
To get on the Wi-Fi to fucking learn. This is America. And this is where we're at in America in fucking 2020. And people don't want to talk about it because they don't want to realize that people are poor here in America. And you might be like, oh, well, why don't they just make more money? Or, I talked about the universal basic income a long time ago. Why we should have it. It's for shit like this. You know what I mean? And for people to say oh, well, if somebody has UBI, they wouldn't work ever again. Okay, so you're thinking about poverty as a personality flaw when it's literally just an income flaw. It's an income flaw.
Yep.
That's all it is. All right, that's all it is. That's all it's ever been. That's a huge problem to me. When you made minimum wage, why did you start making more money? Because you want to better your life. So why the fuck would somebody else that had a floor of minimum wage not want to continue out of minimum wage? Like, nobody wants to be fucking poor. And it's a huge problem that I think a lot of America has, because they don't realize that people are poor, and sometimes it's not really their fault. You know, it's like it's where they're born, it's where they are, or maybe they just started at the bottom, and it's hard for them to get off the bottom. But they want to get off the bottom. Nobody wants to just sit at the fucking bottom.
Yep. And
So
people need to care more, care about each other.
yeah,
You know.
just give a fuck about somebody.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, this is getting too long. I don't want to get. We'll talk about it maybe next time.
Yeah.
Maybe another rant that I'll do. But it's just it's getting more and more fucked up. Hence Canada. I'm just saying.
Take us out on Ninja.
All right. You just experienced Black and Black Times Infinity.
Infinity.
Dankest podcast on the internet. Check us out everywhere on the internet with Beathan BTI. That's BTHANBTI. On Twitter, you check us out on YouTube every Wednesday, 8:30 Pacific. Black and Black Times Infinity. Facebook, we're Beathan BTI. On Player FM, Stitcher, Amazon, we're on there. Spotify, Radio Republic. Check out our official website, benhadproductions.com/BTI. And we're on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/BTI.
Pool boy, cuckoldry.
You love your pegging, don't you?
Oh, Fergus.